Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stand. It's Manchester United versus Tottenham, match chat with Mark Goldbridge. Get your comments in below. If you're here for the match reaction, links in the video description. You can click that and go and see my match reaction. But if you're here in the live moment, we are live, and obviously we don't know what the outcome of this game is going to be. You could make a fair prediction based on the starting lineup, I suppose. And to be honest with you, my initial reaction when I first saw that team news was one of despair, because I saw Ashley Young starting and I was like, oh my God. But then I saw the rest of the team, people like Smalling and Rojo in there, and obviously it's a weakened team by Ollie. It's not our strongest team. I thought maybe against Spurs we would go with a stronger team, but he clearly hasn't done that. He's gone with a weaker team. And we're going to be talking about Bruno Fernandes in a minute. Of course we will. Some news on him and some news on Sean Longstaff as well. Of course we'll be talking about that. But what I would say about that team is I like to think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who's also made some comments about transfers as well, I like to think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has sent a message in a clever way to show Ed Woodward and the board that this team isn't good enough. But to be honest with you, I actually think Ole's quite happy with that team. I do. I think when you listen to what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had to say, I think he truly believes he's got a good team of players. And I don't know what's changed. He's either playing a very good poker face, or he's just getting on with what he's got and he believes he can do something with it. Because when you think back to that comment after the Everton game, I think it was, where he said, I'm here for the long run, but some of these players won't be. Well, they're all still here, Ollie. So, you know, I personally don't think he can get rid of those players. I think he's got to go with what he's got. But, I mean, look, you look at that starting lineup. De Gea's very good. Smalling is a backup. Rojo is terrible. Ashley Young, terrible. Wan-Bissaka, fantastic. You move into the midfield. Pogba, McTominay, okay. Yeah, Pogba's great. Is he going to stay? McTominay, we need a big season from him. Pereira, again. I just feel that with Pereira and McTominay, we're almost being kidded into not buying a midfielder because these lads are good enough. But were they great last season? They showed glimpses. But, you know, as I said last night, it's a big step up to say these lads are ready. They're not ready. They're not going to give you 38 games next season of consistency. They'll show sporadic moments of potential, and then there'll be times where they're not so good. And is that good enough for a team that's going for top four? We needed to bring quality in. Greenwood starting is a positive. He deserves to start. Daniel James starting again. I'm excited about that. Martial through the middle needs to do more. I'm a big fan of Anthony Martial. He needs to do more. And against the Spurs team, which we'll go through in a moment, look, I think that's a weakened United side. I really do. I think there's 3 or 4 players there that you would expect to start, but it's a weakened Manchester United side. The team for Spurs is much the same. They've got Gazaniga, Walker-Peters, Tanganga, Vertonghen, Giorgio, Winks, Sissoko, Ndombele, Dele, Parrott and Kane. Now, apparently this Parrott lad's very good. Winks I really do rate. Sissoko's been a revelation for Spurs for some reason. Ndombele, for me, is the signing of the summer. Harry Kane obviously looks very, very good. So it's a sort of weakened Spurs side, but I still think on paper it looks a little bit better than Manchester United right now. But let's have a look at some of you. Have you given up on the Fernandes coming, says Rashid. We'll talk about the Rashid thing in a moment. We've hit 510,000 subscribers, apparently. Well, we're bang on 510,000 subscribers. Please make sure you subscribe if you're new. Bottom right-hand corner. You're very welcome to the channel if you are new. The United Stand. We're live every night at 8 o'clock. Flex is over there in China. Fantastic content. That vlog yesterday was absolutely sensational. What else have we got? We got fan cams after the game there. We'll be in Norway as well. We'll be in Cardiff next week. We've been with every Manchester United game. The United Stands there. We're live. We've got content, transfer reaction, the lot. So subscribe, bottom right hand corner for that. If you don't give them games, they won't improve, says Mark Edmond. I agree with you. We'll talk about that in a minute. Gaza what, Mark, says Aidan Stallardi. Gazaniga, isn't it? I think that's how you say it. I don't know. Good luck for United. They'll dominate the midfield, says Carito Janga. I'm not even getting involved. Look, I've pronounced the Spurs goalkeeper's name in a way that people don't like it. I mean, sorry. I don't know how you meant to pronounce it, to be honest with you. I read it as it was. Okay. Flex and Josh, keep up the good work, says Kiflin Fan. And... oh, God, would you shut up? Can we just get on the live comments and just, time out people? I'm trying to interact with the comment. I'm not going to interact with idiots. So crack on with your comments if you like, but you're just going to get timed out. You're absolute fools. What do you think about the Fernandes show yesterday against Liverpool, says Helena Morning. I mean, this is exactly what I wanted to talk about, to be honest with you. So, look, God, where do I start on this? Interesting news last night from two areas, really. Steve Bruce, Sean Longstaff basically saying that we don't want to sell that sort of a player. He's a young player at the club. We don't want to sell him. I mean, look, we spoke about it on the 8 o'clock show last night. So there was a story last night that Manchester United are not in for Bruno Fernandes. This morning, Sky Sports have said that Manchester United are not in for Bruno Fernandes. This is clearly, to me, a leak from the club to put out that we're not in for Bruno Fernandes, which is massively disappointing on so many different levels. And I totally and utterly agree with people in the live comments who are on about it, saying that, I'm disgusted with Manchester United. And the point is with this is the reason this has come out, if United have fed the information to Sky and everyone else, is to lower your expectations. Because all summer you've been expecting a rebuild. And let's look at the factors here. We were told at the start of the transfer window that United were going to rebuild, and they've got the money to rebuild. We were told at the start of the transfer window that you're going to be surprised by the quality of player that wants to come to this club. And we were told by Ollie himself that some of these players will not be part of that process because they let us down last year. They're all still here. We've not been surprised by the quality of player that comes here, and we've not seen a big rebuild. So you can understand why there is some frustration. What I would say is you've got till August the 8th, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has actually said two players can still come in, two players can go out. So there's still time. And I always said August the 8th is the point to judge Manchester United's transfer window. Not before, not after. We've got well, it will be after. We've got to judge it then. But the Bruno Fernandes thing, he played against Liverpool last night in New York. He got a goal and an assist, and he was man of the match. This player has been scouted by Manchester United all of last season. This is a player that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer likes. Our midfield is weak. We've lost Ander Herrera and Marouane Fellaini, and we have not bought a midfielder in. We are effectively being told that people like McTominay, Pereira and Fred, who weren't good enough last year, are going to step up, and we don't even know what's happening with Paul Pogba. The midfield is a joke, and you've got a midfielder there in Bruno Fernandes who is absolutely perfect for what we need at £60 million. And United apparently are now feeding to the press that we were never in for him in the first place. What did I say last night? If you're not in for him, what do you want? A pat on the back? Everybody knows that you're in for him, but if you're now retracting and saying you don't want to be in for him, then well done Manchester United. You've screwed it up again. And how I back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and I want Manchester United to do well, right? We're forever told, some of you say it all the time, we're forever told, get behind the club, get behind the manager, right? That's brilliant. How are we as fans supposed to get behind the manager and the players when the board don't get behind the manager? Like, where is the investment from the board? So on one hand, you've got the club saying get behind the manager. Oh, we've got Ollie at the wheel and all this crap that they continually push down our neck on their socials. But where are the club backing the manager? So the fans back the manager on a weak squad, but the club don't back the manager. That's my issue with this. So we've got to wait till August the 8th to see if it happens. But if United aren't in for Bruno Fernandes, a lot of people are like, well, why aren't we in for him? We were never in for him. Well, we were in for him. We have scouted him. We are interested in him. What I believe has happened is that Manchester United are either doing one of two things. One, they're genuinely not in for him anymore because of the money. Or two, they are in for him, but they're saying they're not in for him to try and lower the fee. But whatever one of those two scenarios is true, you can't move away from the fact that it all comes down to money again. And I see a lot of United fans falling out with themselves on social media this morning. Why are you falling out with each other? Are you in charge of transfers at United? Am I in charge of transfers at United? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not even in charge of transfers at United. He puts the names forward, the board decide. And if you don't believe that, read what Mourinho said. Read what Van Gaal said. Read what Moyes says. They didn't get the players that they want. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can tell the board what he wants. He doesn't buy the players. He's not in charge of the budget. So he doesn't get what he wants necessarily. Mourinho didn't, Van Gaal didn't, Moyes didn't, and Ollie probably won't either if we don't get those players in. So if Bruno Fernandes doesn't come to Manchester United, or Pepe doesn't come to Manchester United, it's not necessarily because Ollie doesn't want them, and in the case of Bruno, I think it's established that he does. It's because the board don't want to pay the money. And that is Manchester United in a nutshell. We are run by people who don't really want to spend the going rate on good players. Steph Chadwick, Pereira needs to shine today. Time's running out to impress before he gets fed up and leaves. Can't see us getting quality midfielders in this window. And Duggan says Woodward wants to get ex-United players' staff into the club because he knows they won't come out to the media and speak out about this mess. Well, I said it last night, and I personally, I think, wait and see what happens. But I feel that if we don't have a good transfer window, we are basically the new Arsenal of the last decade. We are being mugged off. We're being mugged off on pretend rebuilds, and we're going to get rid of the deadwood, and we're going to back the manager. And effectively what they're doing is they're putting popular people into the club that we all love to try and quell our frustration at the higher echelons of Manchester United. And ultimately, if they get top four, they're happy, aren't they? That's the bottom line. Where's the proof that Ollie likes Fernandes, says Lipix DJ. Look, mate, you need to understand football for a start. Do you think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to walk out and say, I like Bruno Fernandes? We operate in a world where you either read The Sun and believe absolutely everything, or you build a rapport and an understanding of who's credible in journalism and who isn't. There are countless stories out there. We had Simon Peach talking to Flex. Simon Peach is a Tier 1 Press Association journalist. He was speaking to Flex about Bruno Fernandes 2 weeks ago and said it's common knowledge that Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer like Bruno Fernandes, but I'm not going to go any higher than 5 out of 10, 50% that he'll come to Manchester United, because you just don't know how United are going to negotiate deals. Look, I was 90% sure Bruno Fernandes was coming to United because of what I've been told, and he's perfect for United, and Solskjaer likes him, but you can't be 100%. You can't say done deal, because we've seen it over the years. We've seen it over the years with the likes of Perisic and Alexandro, where United are very close to getting deals done, but the board retract because they don't want to pay them money. But if you want to sit there and think we were never in for him, well done. You've just bought the ticket sold by the Glazers. They want you to believe we're never in for these players. They want you to believe that we were never looking at these quality players, because then they've won. They win then. They do it, if you don't believe we're in for these players, what good? How good is that situation anyway? I mean, to be honest with you, let's all pretend we're not in for Bruno Fernandes, because actually I think that's worse. I think I'd rather we were in for him and we can't afford him, or we were in for him or he goes to another club, than not being in for him. That exposes what a crap scouting network we've got. Because I'll tell you what, if you're sat here right now as a Manchester United fan, and we need a midfielder to complement Pogba, who's got creativity, tenacity, and box-to-boxism, you will find Bruno Fernandes in your top 3, whoever you are. Available right now, probably number 1. Scoring goals for fun. One of the best midfielders in Europe right now. Fits the hole we've got like a bloody glove. So tell me why United's scouting network isn't in for a player like that. Because we're going to be make do FC buying shit again that's not going to be good enough. Jake HN18 says, if Pogba went, would you like Bale plus 90 million and spend 90 million on Eriksen, but also get Bruno and Maguire? Keep up the great wood, Mark, says Jacqueline. Look, I can't give you the answer on what's going to happen with Manchester United's transfer window, but what I said is, even if we got Bruno Fernandes and Harry Maguire in the next 2 weeks, it isn't enough. It will be enough to get top 4, but it isn't really the rebuild we were promised. United were scouting Bruno before, says RCM1 Rom 30. Yeah, I gave you a scenario there. What I'm saying is, if you want to believe United weren't in for Bruno Fernandes, I think that's worse than we actually are in for him, and we don't buy him. Because if we're not in for him, that just shows how bad we are at scouting. But we are in for him. Everybody knows. Read back, go through Sporting Lisbon games. Google Sporting Lisbon, Bruno Fernandes, Manchester United over the last 12 months. Well-known United scouts have been at most Sporting Lisbon games. In fairness, they were at a lot of Benfica games as well, and they're probably at other games. But United have had scouts at pretty much every Sporting Lisbon game last season. So who are they looking at? Who are we looking at? They won't sign Bruno Fernandes because he's perfect, says the Bulge. Yeah, and to be honest with you, United have had this issue over recent years. And I tell you what, I still am going to wait till August the 8th and then I'll make my mind up on this transfer window. I know a lot of you have jumped already and you've made your mind up. It doesn't mean I'm right. A lot of you jumped on Mourinho before me. You jumped in the March after Sevilla and said that's it and Mourinho out. I gave him the summer, I gave him a chance, and then I think it was after the West Ham game I was like, that's it, I'm done. So you were right on that one, and maybe you're going to be right on the transfer window. And to be honest with you, the evidence is there that our transfer, that we are bad at transfers and we do this every single summer. But I chose to be positive. I chose to believe that they would do something different this summer. And as I said, August the 8th is Judgment Day, because if this summer goes the same way as the last 6, I don't know what's going to happen at our football club. Because how can you invest we're always going to support the club, we're always going to support the team, but how can you invest any positivity or ambition yourself when your football club doesn't do it? So it's going to be very interesting. I did expect a hell of a lot more than this transfer window's offered, though. And I think whatever happens, United have failed, because I can't see us signing 3 or 4 players in the next 2 weeks. And it is 2 weeks now. Still 90% sure we'll get Bruno, says Sebastian Anderson. I said I'll go down with the ship. I said I would go down with the ship, and at the moment we're taking on water. I'm not 90% sure anymore. I'm not. Only an idiot would be 90%. I think I said this after. I think I said last night. I'll probably drop down to being 70% sure now. I still think we've got to be in for him. But I think you know what? I think what's happened is United don't want to pay 60 million, and that will be baffling to everybody, because he's worth 60 million, but actually we didn't want to pay 45 million for Perisic. We were happy to pay 40 and we walked away. Once our board gets it in their head that they don't want to pay a certain price for a player, they'll walk. They've shown they'll walk, and it doesn't help us. It helps their pocket, because they keep the 60 million, but it doesn't help us. Thanks for the contribution, Neil Thomas Dixon. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new, bottom right hand corner. Why is Rojo in our starting lineup? Says Gideon Maroa. Because he's part of the squad on about 100 grand a week, isn't he? So, you've got to play. Sky Sports is killing our Bruno Fernandes dream, says Nathan Moyer. It's funny because Sky Sports traditionally have been pretty crap, but this year they've been quite accurate. So, yeah. A lot of people saying they're down to 20% now. You're in denial, Mark. He's not coming anymore, says Alvin Dooku. Look, I said I'd go down with this ship. I'll go down with this ship. But what if he doesn't come? I will be furious, because he's absolutely perfect. And as I said, I don't think United fans should be falling out with each other. It's not Ollie's fault either. This is down to the board. The board by the players. And anybody with a brain can see he's perfect for us. And he symbolises a rebuild. And he symbolises filling a void that we have. And it symbolises ambition. He'd be here for years. And if we don't go and get a player like that, it completely epitomises what is and has been the problem at United for 6 years. A lack of foresight, a lack of ambition, and very, very, very poor recruitment. But we've seen it time and time again, haven't we? I can see Dybala coming, says Carl Fulham. Well, yeah, in relation to Dybala, there was quite an interesting story last night, wasn't there, Carl, about Dybala and potentially going to Tottenham. But I saw David Amoyal, who is a sort of journalist with Demartio, and he mentioned Manchester United and PSG as being more likely outlets for him. But I don't see where. I mean, Dybala would be a good signing for Manchester United. Of course he would. But is he what Manchester United need? Again, I think, when are we going to start looking at the midfield? I can't ever emphasise this enough. Who is the midfielder that we're going to bring in? Is it now going to be Milinkovic-Savic? Is that what we're looking to do? Because I really, 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 really do struggle with what Manchester United are trying to achieve. We'll find out in 2 weeks' time. We haven't got that long to wait now. 2 weeks. 2 weeks to solve a problem at Manchester United, and it's going to be very interesting indeed to see how we get on with it. But we've got a very big game coming up for you, and it's only about 20 minutes away, isn't it? Manchester United versus Tottenham. How do you think it's going to go? Look, it's a weekend. Look, we don't learn a lot from that team. We do learn from the midfield and we do learn from the defence, but we don't learn a lot from that team, in all honesty. From the attack we earn a lot. We don't earn a lot from the defence, because it's got Smalling and Rojo and Young in it, and even if they play well, we know about these players. They've been at the club for a long time. We know they've got mistakes in them. We know they are last resort backups. So, the defence, apart from Wan-Bissaka, is neither here nor there. Midfield, McTominay. Let's hope we see a good game from McTominay and Pereira, because I think regardless of whether you think they're good enough or not, it's becoming abundantly clear that Manchester United are investing a lot of time in those players. So we're going to have to hope that they can start to produce the goods for us, because they are definitely going to be playing a lot of games for next season for us, aren't they? Because at the moment, that's our midfield absolutely done. Post-match, need to ask Ollie if Bruno is in or out. Says, sorry, I've had a bit of a freeze here at the moment. That's okay. Glazers out, says Chris Delargy. That was the comment. Nathan Strawford says that post-match they need to ask Ollie if Bruno is in or out. Yeah, it'd be nice if somebody did ask him that, to be honest. I suppose he could play a straight bat and say, I don't want to talk about it. Danny Dobson says, our board is a joke. They have to go. We won't win the league again with them and Woodward in charge because they won't spend the money. Youngie out. Uziel Pineda. Well, I mean, that's an interesting point. I mean, maybe the rumours that Manchester United are trying to sell the club, maybe that's why they don't want to invest money. I don't know. If Fernandez does... Uziel Pineda says, if Fernandez doesn't come, Pogba to Madrid might happen sooner than expected. Can we at least get Maguire through the door? Detective Mark. I do think Harry Maguire will still come to Manchester United, by the way. I know some people don't, but I still do think that Harry Maguire will come to Manchester United. And Stephen Lilly says that I've supported United since 1984. I will not buy any more United merch until the Glazers are gone. Only way to hurt these people as far as I am concerned. Thanks for the contribution there. I'm having problems with my stream at the moment. Oh, this is annoying. This is annoying. Come back. Right, it's working again now. Sorry. It's hot here, that's why. Right. Maldita says, thanks for the updates every day. Come on, Red Devils. Like how they are playing Martial as a striker, says Manchester United, Levenga. So yeah, there's your team on the left. You've got De Gea, Smalling, Rojo as centre-back, Ashley Young and Wan-Bissaka. It's quite a weak back four, isn't it? But it is pre-season. You've got to give everyone a run out. I understand that. Pogba, McTominay and Pereira as a midfield three. I mean, some people would say, is that our strongest midfield, really? I don't want Matic in it. And we've got Greenwood starting, which is good. Daniel James starting. And Martial through the middle. And I think Martial through the middle... We need to see Martial producing for Manchester United a little bit better, don't we? I don't think he's had a great tour so far. I know he scored a penalty, but he needs to be doing a little bit more. So very big game for Anthony Martial. Centre-back is the main issue. Smalling and VAR worry me, says Dave Simpson. La, 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 la. Get me live comments. Oh, it's doing my head in a little bit, this now. Insane Bippin says, I've got a Manchester United tattoo on my chest and I absolutely love this club. Well, I think we all love the club, don't we? We just want to get, all I want to see is Manchester United back competing for titles. I'm not even going to be greedy and say, I want what happened under Sir Alex Ferguson. I mean, of course, we all want that. But Manchester United Football Club are the Bayern Munich of England, with a Barcelona or Real Madrid of England, with the Juventus of England. We are the biggest club in England, and it would be unfathomable for Juventus not to be in a title race for 6 years, or Barcelona or Real Madrid not to be in a title race for 6 years, or Bayern Munich not to be in a title race for 6 years. And I don't think people understand how heavily or how far we've fallen and how inexcusable it is for a club of our stature and size and revenue and fan base to be nowhere near a title for 6 years. And I've always said this every year. I will not let my expectations be lowered by this football club. But they have. They've won. They've allowed that to happen. And we need to be getting back to where we are. And I just don't see that appetite to do it. George Ramos says, Bruno's move to Manchester is now looking very unlikely. At this rate, we won't sign nobody now. Be careful what you wish for. We are finished. I think if the transfer window was to close tomorrow, as it is, I think we'll finish 6th. If we get Harry Maguire, we'll be fighting for 5th. If we get another midfielder in of the quality of Bruno Fernandes, I think we'd be looking at 4th. But yeah. Will you remove Bruno from your hotometer, says John G. You'll have to see in the morning. Transfer Daily every morning on Monday to Friday is 7 a.m. So you can see tomorrow morning. I will get the hotometer up. Remember, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner. We're live for every game. We've got match reaction, fan cams from China, Norway and Cardiff to come over the next week. Obviously Transfer Daily, 8 o'clock every night. We go live if there's any big news. And yeah, we've got some cracking content coming for you from tomorrow lunchtime as well. So make sure you are subscribed for that. Dave Whitehead, really not happy with this Bruno news, Mark. This midfield isn't good enough. And Maguire, it's all gone a bit hush. Really pissed off. See you August the 8th, mate. Yes, looking forward to that. Look, I feel like there's a lot of people saying, I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. And I hate that. I hate the whole I told you so stuff. But, you know, it is what it is, isn't it? We have still got time to turn this around. And I hope that we can. But it isn't looking... It's not looking that promising at the moment, is it? It's looking like another bad transfer window. And that's a concern. And, you know, we've got this game today. And I've heard people saying, oh, I hope Spurs smashes because... then it will show to the board that we need to go and buy players. I don't hope Spurs smashes. I don't, simply because I don't think that logic holds any water. I mean, we lost to Cardiff. This is a pre-season game against a team that finished above us. If they beat us, the board will go, oh, it's pre-season, or they'll think, well, Spurs are better than us anyway. This is a board that's not reacted to losing to Cardiff at Old Trafford and being played off the park by Huddersfield. If they're not going to react to those real games, why are they going to react to a pre-season game today? They're just not going to do it. So I hope United put in a good performance because, to be honest with you, I think the only hope we have is hope. And we're going to have to start hoping that people like Pereira and McTominay are good enough for a top 4 midfield because we're looking weak there at the moment. Paul, can you hear me?
Yes, mate. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Are you?
Yeah, sound. Cheers.
So go on then, give us your thoughts. I know we're about 15 minutes away from kickoff anyway. First of all, how are you feeling about that lineup?
It is what it is, really, isn't it? I mean, that defence is a bit of a joke. If we started the defence like that in the game against Chelsea, we'd all be absolutely losing it. But it's pre-season, as you said. Everyone gets a run out. Everyone needs a game. They'll get hopefully a half and then they'll change it over. But I was kind of hoping that Ollie would go down the route of putting one of his best teams out at Tottenham to give us a gauge of where we are a little bit better. But this is not going to really give us a gauge of where we are at all with that lineup, in my opinion.
No, I know. And how are you feeling about this news about, you know, Bruno Fernandes overnight? It clearly feels like it's coming from the club now that, you know, they're leaking stuff out to lower the expectations. My feeling in a sentence is that we have scouted this player. We are interested in this player, but we don't want to pay for this player. So now we're releasing it to the public that we're not in for him so that the fans don't think we're signing him.
There you go, Mark. That's the explanation. It's just ridiculous. It's getting beyond a joke. I swear. I try not to think about it because this roller coaster of emotions that the media and the leaks from Man United are sending us on is turning everyone toxic. Everyone's at each other on social media. No one's right, but nobody's wrong at the same time. Nobody knows what's going on, but everybody's got an opinion on it. And that's because of Man United. They're leaking out little bits of positivity. They're drip feeding us positivity, whilst the actual media are throwing these fake stories out, none of which have come true. And we don't know what to think. I mean, Man United need to come out and buy someone or make a statement. I feel sorry for Ollie at the moment. I really do. I know a lot of people disagree with me, saying Ollie's a puppet, and I was led to believe he was. But, I mean, what's he meant to do in this situation? What's he meant to do? He has to stay positive because Jose Mourinho tried the opposite, and he was getting buried. Ollie wants the players on side. He can't start throwing anybody under the bus yet. He has to stay on one track, and that's what he's doing. But you can just sense his frustration. So this Bruno Fernandes thing, mate, honestly, I just try not to think about it. And I'm with you, 8th of August, D-Day, then we move.
I agree, mate. And I think that, you know what, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I mean, I've just got a super chats to read and then we'll come back to that. But I think that Zachary Purvis says this game feels like the game on FIFA where your player's stamina is low in a pre-season match, so you're checking the reserves to keep them happy. And Joe Stringer says, hi Mark, James Cooper at Sky Sports is reporting that Manchester United won't be signing Fernandes. Gutted with this news. Ollie says he's not let down, says it all. Well, James Cooper is very reliable, so there you go. They've obviously leaked that from the club, so they've fucked it up. I mean, I'm disgusted by that. I'm absolutely disgusted because new member, welcome to Ian Dodd. I'm absolutely disgusted because it makes people look like idiots and liars, and I know. I don't even need to tell you. Go and research United scouting Bruno Fernandes. And what they're basically doing is they're pulling out of a deal late on because they don't want to spend the money, and they're leaking it out there to try and make you lot lower your expectations and go, we were never in for him anyway. And I've seen this happen loads over the years. That it just has different names. We're never in for him anyway. Considering a bid FC. There's no value in the market FC. The point is United don't want to spend the money on Bruno Fernandes then. If they're pulling out, that's what it is, because he's absolutely perfect for us. And actually, if we're not in for him, Paul, then it just shows to me how bad our scouting is, because he's absolutely perfect for what United need in an area where we're very weak.
Mark, we've got 50 scouts here, internationally. 50 scouts scouring the globe, all over every league in the world, so we're led to believe. And behind the scouting team, we've got an infrastructure that takes on all the information and then breaks it down. And we've come up with, we don't want Bruno Fernandes, one of the best midfielders in Europe. But we do want Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Is that 50 people's work? Is that their body of work? You know?
But I think
what is our scouting team doing?
You've hit the nail on the head there, because what's very important is that you try not to, like Paul says, direct your anger at fans, more importantly, because fans aren't in charge of who we sign. We saw it with Fabinho. We all knew he'd be brilliant for United. We just didn't buy him, and he goes to Liverpool. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer likes Bruno Fernandes. That Simon Peach said it, tier 1 journalist. Everybody knows Ole Gunnar Solskjaer likes Bruno Fernandes. It's well known. Whether he was on his list or not, I reckon he was. I'm pretty sure he was. But listen to what Moyes said, listen to what Van Gaal said, listen to what Mourinho said. I don't like any of those managers of Manchester United. They were poor recruitment managers. But they're not poor human beings, and they're not necessarily liars, and they all said the same thing. I didn't get the players I wanted. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not in charge of transfers. He can say, I want a player. Whether he gets one at this club, it's not like Pep Guardiola, I want that player and they give him 2. He is not going to get the players he wants, and it's proven through the last 3 managers. So to blame Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Paul, I think what is he supposed to do? He's just got to crack on with it. And I just saw there Scott McTominay and Andres Pereira, and I just saw people in the live comments, and Heath Farley says, love the channel, we need some positivity as I'm angry and sick with this club.
It's true, we do.
Which is true. And I want Pereira and McTominay to do well. But I tell you what, after 6 years, I'm not going to shut up and not say what I'm about to say. If Pereira and McTominay do well, we are a lucky club, because you know what that's all about. It's nothing against those lads. I hope they do really well. We're trying to do it on the cheap. This is not about those players anymore. It's not about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer anymore. It's about the board. They are trying to do it on a cheap. If Pereira and McTominay work, Glazers are lucky people, because they don't want to invest in this team, and they're making our manager do it with youth prospects. And if it works, it's great. But it's being done on the cheap.
I'm buzzing for the youth coming through. I am, genuinely. Gomez, I think, looks like an absolute baller. I know he's small and stacked, but his composure is one of the biggest things I look for. Ball retention, composure on the ball, and doing the right thing at the right time. A lot of people have got techers, but to be able to do those 3 things, this football intelligence, it's different gravy. It pushes you from good to great, or great to, elite. Gomez has got that. Greenwood is a natural finisher. He's a natural footballer. He doesn't think about things before he does. Our youth coming through, they look great, but then you have to flip it. Why are they coming through? Why are we pushing these prospects into very high-pressured situations at a very young age? And it's because we're not recruiting properly. So they could suffer the consequences of their career going into a season very well prepared, but an underperforming team, which is what we are, and then they will get stick if they underperform for a certain amount of time, and they don't deserve it. So we're going to throw James in there, Greenwood. We're already banking on Greenwood. The youth prospects are fantastic, but I fear for them a little bit if that's what we're going to rely on. It's, we should be bringing them into a positive atmosphere where it could turn toxic very quick. So the positivity's there, but it's just, the surrounding factors of why.
Yeah. Wolfie 35p says 48 scouts with thumbs up there. But to be fair, the scouts could have done really well. I would guarantee. Well, look, we've scouted Bruno Fernandes every game last season. So the scouts, and there was an ex-scout of United who said, I presented these players. I can't remember. There was one young player that's gone on to be really good that United presented to the board 2 or 3 years ago.
Well, it's Delit, wasn't it?
It might have been Delit, yeah. And they said no. So the scouts the scouts probably are doing their job, but Ollie will be doing his job. Ollie will have given a good list. If the board doesn't buy them,
Ollie would have given a list over. Yeah, and then what do they do with it? It doesn't matter. Because if everything bottlenecks down to one thing, and I've said it before, I'll say it again because it's fact. I hate to, but there's a bottom line. There's accounting, and there's there's targets to hit for the shareholders. The shareholder dividend. If the shareholders are unhappy, money out. Glazers need their well. So as much as we talk about football on a level, what it all boils down to, the dollar value of the club. That's why these decisions are being made. Which is not buying players, scouting players that we don't want, not buying players. It's down to the dollars basically. But I'm buzzing for the game today. Greenwood's there. We can see what this midfield's going to perform like because, as you said, this could be the midfield we start for the beginning of the season. Martial up front. Everybody's wanting us to look at that. James down the left. I think he's going to be an absolute menace when he comes good. So positive for this game. Defence, but our attack is together.
It's interesting, actually. I mean, Dave Whitehead says, have we ever been a club that buys big players? Even Fergie never had that. We're never going to buy these players. We've always been cheap. It's crazy. Well, no. I can think of Roy Keane. We smashed the British record for that. Wayne Rooney, Rio Ferdinand, Van Nistelrooy was a lot of money. We have spent money in the past. I think that's a myth. I just think nowadays they don't want to do it as much. Nathan Morton, I think there's concern, but there are still positives. The football is improving. Players have grown hunger. Don't think this season will tank. You know what, Nathan? I think that's absolutely spot on. I totally agree with you. And I was sort of, when Paul was on about Mason Greenwood there, I was getting a buzz. I think the sad thing is, we have got some youth coming through. We've got a manager who wants to play the way we want to play. And he's basically going to be a bit like Mourinho at times, one arm behind his back. Because what he needs, he's got the youth, he's got the motivation, he's got the style of play, and he's got 1 or 2 players already here. What he needed was 2, 3, 4, 5 good signings. He's got 1 in Wan-Bissaka and 1 potentially good in Daniel James. He needed 2 or 3 more signings to go with all the other positivity, and then this season would have been a genuine, I can believe in it. I think this season, and Paul, you're right, that midfield is probably our best midfield, and it's got question marks in it. Can McTominay step up and play for 40 games really well? Can Pereira step up for games and do really well? Because if they can't, you're looking at Fred and Matic, and again, can they do it? The midfield is where games are won and lost, and I think that's my concern. In a pre-season game, I'm sure they might do really well today, but a football season's 60 games if you're successful.
Yeah, I think Fred's going to come good. I think he's a player in the making. Really do. Just tensions. And over Matic every day of the week. This is this weird long stuff. I'd like long stuff after Fernandes, and just so he plays Matic could be the weak link.
Paul, you're breaking up a little bit there, so I'll get you back on at half time, mate, if that's all right.
Yeah, brilliant, mate.
No worries. Speak to you in a bit, mate.
All right, see you in a bit.
Cheers. I don't know what was going wrong there. It always starts off really well and then it just starts to break up a little bit. So it might be at my end, to be honest. Spartan N. Jones says, what Ollie's been told he can have 2 to 3 signings and the rest are youth, so they've gone for the cheaper options on the list. Well, you know what? We've got a football match to watch now, and the great thing about a football match is you can forget about the transfers for a bit because there's going to be plenty of time to talk about that in the match reaction, etc. And we will talk about it during the game. But I have said all summer, August the 8th is going to be very interesting because the transfer window shuts and we'll know exactly who we've signed and we'll know exactly what our spend is. And if it's below 200 million, or below 150 million, then that club have not backed that manager and to the level that he needed to be backed, and it's disgusting. And what surprises me about it is that every year that United have not been in the Champions League, because if United don't get in the Champions League this season, their revenue from Adidas drops quite considerably. And I think it's the same for other sponsors. So what United traditionally do is, you think about Mourinho's first season, we were in the Europa League, he got Pogba, he got Zlatan, he got Mkhitaryan, we spent good money. You think about the summer that Van Gaal was in the Europa League, he got good money. We're in the Europa League, so where's the good money? What if Ollie's been told it yet? We've read that one, thank you. And Wolfie35p says, I'm not blaming the scouts. What I meant is they're getting paid to do a job, but owners not acting on scouts' knowledge. And you know what? I think we've all just realised again, this is the problem, isn't it? This is what, I'm surprised I can't see it being absolutely spammed in the live comments. The director of football, the lack of a director of football. You've got a manager who wants players, and then above him you've got 2 people involved in the recruitment of players who are not football people. And I forget what the name of the other one is, but it's Woodward and somebody else. Is it Much or something like that? So yeah, it's something United need to address. They need to get a director of football in who negotiates, not necessarily negotiates, but oversees the recruitment of players, who actually has got a football brain. That would be massively, massively beneficial for Manchester United. And for some reason, we just don't seem to do it. And it's massively frustrating, of course. But we got to focus on this game now. I mean, look, what are your score predictions? Because I'm going to go with Manchester United win 2-1. You say I'm crazy? I'm not crazy, boy. I think Manchester United will win this game. I do. Because it's pre-season and it doesn't matter. And as I said, for all those people, get your live comments in. Let me tell you, put a score in and where you're watching from so we can be a bit nosy. But I am not one of those people who is thinking, I hope Manchester United get played off the park because that means we'll go and sign Bruno Fernandes. It won't. It won't. We got absolutely destroyed by Liverpool in America last year. Did we go and sign any players? We didn't sign one. We were shite in that tour last year. Absolutely shit. It was embarrassing. Even Mourinho said, I don't know why the fans are turning up. We didn't sign anybody. No more signings came in. So people who are going, all right, we get absolutely dominated by Spurs. It won't mean anything. It will not mean anything to the people who are recruiting players. Thanks for the contribution, Mark Daly. I'm going to blast through some live comments now. Godwin says, I'm loving the work from Nigeria. Cool, mate. Ashley Young is the captain. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Of course he is. Stephen Diak says, just hope someone buys us over there, then they sack Woodward. I think Woodward would be sacked if we got new owners, to be honest with you. Not because I think Woodward's an idiot or anything like that. I just think anybody in his position would have been sacked by now, because if you've got a chief executive who's recruited 3 managers and they've all failed, you've got to look at the person who's doing the recruitment, haven't you? And if you're the chief executive and you've spent over £400 million and not had a title race, and they've all flopped and they're all stuck at the club on big wages, you've failed. So David Trainer says, it's all right though, he'll get us another bed deal. David Trainer says, if we are 7th come December, the board will stick with Ollie, even the fans. I'm with him for the long run. We need to be consistent for once. I hope that if we are 7th in December, I still stick with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I'm not going to say I will, because when you're stuck in 7th, your emotions are running high. But we must try and stick with Ollie, because he hasn't been backed this summer yet. So how can he succeed with the team that came 6th last year and he's lost one of his better players in Ander Herrera? Mr. Beast, last time in the Europa League we spent about 160 million, including inflation, bringing quality players. Now look at this summer so far, we're crap. Glazers out, says Mr. Beast. And Dazu W says, if we don't sign anyone and sell Lukaku for 70 million, we will have 2 players in and Glazers up 5 million. Sounds about right with this board. Well, that's the thing. the minute Lukaku is sold, we are actually in profit for the transfer window, which is crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. But hold on. Kalpana's a little bit late. He says Sky Sports are saying that Bruno Fernandes isn't coming. It's interesting because Sky Sports 2 days ago said that we were in for him, and now they're saying not because they've been briefed by the club. Some people are saying Manchester United. Elvis says Manchester United are going to lose 2-0. Let's focus on the game, because I think from a game point of view, Spurs play a certain brand of football in a certain way, and I think hopefully they'll play that brand of football against us today. We're trying to play on the front foot more, so hopefully we'll see Manchester United, give a good account of themselves in relation to the way we play. Look, personnel-wise, I'd rather see McGran playing at centre-back than Rojo. She's been dead for a few years, but the reality is you've got to play these players because he's stuck with these players. I can't think for 1 minute, if you said to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I've got a club for Rojo, do you want him to go? He wouldn't go, I want to keep him. Of course he wants him to go, but Rojo got given a stupid contract under Mourinho. A stupid contract. I think he's on about 80 grand a week. Like, who's going to pay him that? He's basically the Argentinian Phil Jones with his injury record. And, so, look, Ollie's got a senior professional there that he's trying to get rid of. He may as well try and get the best out of him. Dead Woodward A's out, says G-Lad Beats. We are 5 minutes away. We are 5 minutes late with the kickoff as per usual, because this is what happens on tour. They never start on time, but we are just about to kick off, and the second it does, you'll see the timer underneath me start. Spurs are going to kick it off. Not the strongest team for Spurs. Gazaniga in goal. So no Lloris. Harry Kane is starting. Ndembele starts. Dele Alli starts. Eriksen's not playing. I don't know whether he's on the bench. Son's not starting either, is he? So it's not their strongest team, but maybe they've seen United's lineup and both teams are going to mix it up, because it's not United's strongest team either. Well, Rashford's not there. Lingard's not there. Lindelof's not there. Not starting. I'm sure they'll start in the second half. So. But it'll be interesting whether he's going to do a half each today, because he didn't do a half each against Inter Milan. He did an hour. So is he going to do a half each? I don't know. But Mason Greenwood starts, Daniel James starts, which is encouraging. We're waiting for this bloody referee to start. He's got the charisma of a stone. He's just dead-faced. Now, what are you waiting for to start it? Because, mate, you should have started it 7 minutes ago. And we're off. Yes, we're off. Martial's playing through the middle, so I think it's going to be, as I've set it up really, it'll be a 4-2-3-1. So Daniel James playing off the left, Mason Greenwood off the right, Martial through the middle, Pereira in the sort of number 10 position, with McTominay and Pogba as a midfield too. And to be honest with you, that midfield, look, I'm sure we all would love Manchester United to be signing midfielders, but as a midfield, that's probably our strongest midfield, so it better bloody start working. Greenwood's going to score 3 tonight. Right, Mark, says Rabani. And Benes says Ndembele Sissoko partnership. What a partnership. And he's a Spurs fan as well. Look, I will give credit where it's due. I personally think that Ndembele is the signing of the summer so far. I think he's a fantastic signing. Don't know why a Herrera placement wasn't the first priority, says Michael Mayerstar. If we're keeping Pogba, he needs help. Otherwise, there's no reason to have him. Exactly. Well, you know what? That's a very good point as well. If you're Paul Pogba, for all the criticism he gets about wanting to leave United, can you really blame him? Like, he is a World Cup winner, considered to be one of the best midfielders in the world, and he's at Manchester United, 6th best club in England in the Europa League, and they've done sod all in the transfer market other than buy a right back. You know, it's not really the investment that you would want to keep your player there, is it? But Spurs on the attack at the moment. I can't tell who's who here. It's hard to tell. And it's back with De Gea. Yeah, please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Says Snaps, bottom right hand corner. And also share the video as well. Subscribe, bottom right hand corner. We're live every night at 8 o'clock. We've got fan cams, all that jazz for you to get involved in. And also Flex is actually out in China, so we'll be interviewing fans after the game. They'll be going up for you later this afternoon. Match reactions, transfer daily every morning at 7 a.m. And from tomorrow lunchtime, we've got some really good content for you. So keep your eyes peeled, get your notifications on. Smalling's let it bounce there. Harry Kane was close, but he still managed to head it back to De Gea. Come on, Manchester United, says Brian Tan. Lucas Stubbs says it's going to be 2-0 to United. And thoughts on Axel Victor Bay rotation, says Mob Mobs. United need a centre-back. I do believe we'll get Harry Maguire. I just think that United are struggling to pay the money for him. I do think Manchester United will sign Harry Maguire, yeah. I mean, look, in relation to Spurs, I think Spurs are going to sign another midfielder as well. Like their midfield. Oh, here we go. Slip at the back there. Pereira's onto it. Oh, that's a shame. That's not encouraging from Pereira there. He jumps onto a loose ball. He's got a runner off his right, and he's just got to slip them in. Martial. It's a shit pass. This is what I mean. Pereira and McTominay, I want them to do really well, but do you trust them over 38 games? Because are they going to have that consistency? We need them to step up to the plate now and become 8 out of 10 every game players, and that's very difficult for those players to do that when they're really just potential. But that's what United are sort of banking on at the moment when you look at the transfer activity. Another wasteful ball there. Daniel James is in. Now, can he slip Martial in like last time? Martial's on the edge of the box. Shoots! Goal! Oh, he's hit the post! Oh, we were right behind that. Martial hits the post, and I'm thinking that's going in off the post. It doesn't go off in off the post. A lovely hit by Martial, fed in by Daniel James, but we're right behind that, the camera angle, and you think it's going to hit the post and go in, and it doesn't. Martial hits the post. Ooh. I don't know why I went ooh. Lovely bit of play, though, from another mistake by Spurs. And United should be 1-0 up. And I'll tell you what, I liked that from Martial. I mean, there's a player that Ollie is playing very centrally this season, in the pre-season. And I don't know, I think I prefer him out on the left. But he hit that early. And as we know with Martial, you give him a chance and he's got those killer eyes. And he hit that really, really well. I thought it was going to go in, but it didn't go in. It remains 0-0. But Spurs a little bit sloppy, and United running at their back four twice there. Pereira couldn't feed Martial in. James did. One moment. Sorry, everybody. I thought it was the Amazon delivery. It wasn't. We should go on Insta and comment, sign Fernandez. Let the club hear our voice, says Emperor. Okay, are we back? Yes, we are. Sorry, I'm waiting on an Amazon delivery. You can normally just leg it to the front door and get it. But it wasn't that. It was something else. So good start from United. That chance has sort of given them a little bit of impetus. And with that chance hitting the post, we've then gone and got a little bit more possession. Bit of a nasty tackle there by Dele Alli on Wan-Bissaka. And Pereira's gone in for a little bit, which is good. Dele Alli's a little shit, isn't he, really, to be honest with you? It wasn't a bad tackle by Dele Alli. He actually slipped. It was a bad tackle, but he slipped. It wasn't malicious. It's a lovely shot by Martial, you know. Oh, it's because of the way he's hit it, it's curling away. So when it hits the post, the curl of the ball brings it out. But it's a lovely shot. Lovely shot by Anthony Martial. Should be 1-0. Fitness Unscripted Sharath Kamath says, after the last transfer window, I can't see how we won't sign players. We have to. I think the club wants to keep hopes low and suddenly surprise us. You're right. You know what? August the 8th is when this transfer window is closed. What I would say, it isn't looking good for Bruno Fernandes because the club have clearly decided no for whatever reason. So we'll see. We'll see. It's not 1-0 to Manchester United, Rory Curran, and if you do it again, you'll be on a timeout. Wan-Bissaka injury. It was a little bit unfortunate there. I think he'll be all right. Dele Alli sort of slipped into him. But United are dictating the play a bit now. What a ball by Scott McTominay that is as well. Driven across to the other side of the pitch. Cross comes in. They'll get rid of that. But Pogba's on the end of it. I thought he was going to shoot. Ooh. But United on top at the moment. Good energy. Apparently Spurs are a week behind us fitness-wise. I don't understand why, but good cross there from Wan-Bissaka, and Vertonghen had to slip it behind because I think it was going to make its way to Martial. So United definitely on the front foot at the moment. We've not really seen much of Greenwood so far, Sean Murphy. He's not really got into the game as yet. Little bit of Daniel James, plenty of Martial. My missus is pissed off because I see you more than her, says Sam A. And Ryan FTW, we'll read yours in a minute. Good cross by United there, and McTominay was going up for it. Our two most uncomfortable centre-backs on the ball, says Ryan FTW. Yeah, so we're weakened in a way. But I tell you what Pereira does do, he does bring good set-piece delivery. Daniel James doesn't. Transfer predictions now. Look, things change so quickly in the transfer window. I think we will still get Harry Maguire. Yeah, well, I'm 90% sure we'll get Harry Maguire. At one point, I was 90% sure we were going to get Bruno because I know the club were interested in him. And I say were, I still think that they are. But with Harry Maguire, he is the priority signing. But will United walk away from the deal because they don't like spending money? That's the only deal. And Nathan Morton says James' final ball over the last 2 games concerns me. You know what, with Daniel James, I'm just very, very relaxed. I think we've just got to be patient with him. He's a 15 million signing. You know, we paid more for Delo, and he was brought in as a young sort of reserve right back. So Spurs might be 1-0. Good save, De Gea. Dele Alli should have scored there. I think it was Parrott who found him, put him in one-on-one, didn't really connect. De Gea makes a good save, so it's one chance each there. But Rojo's defensive play there, he actually runs into Smalling when he should actually be leaving Smalling and going for Dele Alli. But good save by De Gea. Should be 1-1. Should be 1-0, sorry. So corner for Spurs. It's not 1-0, it's 0-0. It's a terrible corner. De Gea will get that. I don't know why De Gea punched that, because he had plenty of time to catch it. Spurs pick it up again. I'll tell you what player I really like. I really like Harry Winks. I really like Harry Winks. I think he's going to be a fantastic player for England in future years. I just think he's such a good CDM. I really like him. Here he is again, and he's pulling strings. I like Spurs. I like Pochettino, and I do like Spurs. I mean, they're Champions League finalists. Let's not forget. They're a good team. Dele Alli is really Lingard, says Basharavat Nayak. You know what? There are similarities. If you speak to Spurs fans, they do say the same thing. Dele Alli, I think, is going to get booked here. Yeah, he has. I don't know whether McTominay played for that or not, but he got away with the Wan-Bissaka one anyway. I like Winks, says Man United. I do. I like him. So Dele Alli's got a yellow card. Ollie is a B-Tech Klopp. Well, you know, it's not even a win. Anyway, United on the attack here. Martial. Nice little ball. Retention of the ball in the final third is so important for United. Pereira, Pogba shoots. Daniel James picks it up in the box. Can he find the final ball? Martial will hit that. Oh, good block. Ashley Young puts it out to James. He's got 2 players on him. That's it. Just rotate the ball. Ball retention is very important. Young. Reverse pass. Hit it too hard. It's gone for a goal kick. Mulangan says that McTominay's looking good. Where's the pressing? Says Yo-Yo Go-Go. Well, we have definitely pressed. Let's be fair. I mean, we have definitely pressed. Does our style of play look different? Says Graham Finlayson. Well, we sort of combine the two, yeah. United are playing in a different way. We've got a corner here, actually. It must have deflected on Ashley Young's through ball. So let's just watch this, because Pereira's delivery on this pre-season tour has been really good so far. And that's another good delivery. And see, it makes such a difference when United have got good delivery. And if Pereira is going to be a part of the first team plans, and you've got someone like Harry Maguire, then we could be a real threat from set pieces. The style of play that United are playing is definitely different from what it was like under Mourinho, etc. Spurs on the attack here at the moment. I disagree. I think we are pressing. There is a lot more energy and tenacity to the team. Look, McTominay has stepped up a level this season, says Angil Kamal. I did predict that. I mean, look, I'll always say I'm a little bit dubious about whether McTominay's going to be good enough, but I did say I think he'll have a big season for United this year. You can just tell the club are pushing him forward. You can tell he's a very dedicated kid who gets what United's all about. I hope he is going to be a success at United. I'm just not convinced yet, but I have a funny feeling he'll have a big season at United, and we need him, and we need Pereira as well to have good seasons, because at the moment there's no midfield players coming in. How's it been so far? Says D-Struck1. Good. I think we've had 2 really good chances. Martial hit the post. Dele Alli missing a one-on-one. But United have probably shaded it a little bit more. United do look fitter. And here is Martial running at the back 4. Oh, good tackle. James, that'll be a free kick. And really, he probably should give a yellow card for that. Sissoko. I think Pereira will want this free kick as well. United's pace, I mean, that's something I would say if you don't think United are playing that well. United's pace on the break, again, is causing teams problems. Definitely a foul that by Sissoko on Daniel James. And it's right on the edge of the box, the free kick. So who will take it is going to be interesting. Remember last year? I remember Pereira's free kick last pre-season tour against Liverpool. I went mad. I don't know whether I'd go that mad this time. I've got to be honest with you, but I would be obviously ecstatic to see him scoring a goal. So Pereira's on free kick. Or is it Ashley Young? Could be Ashley Young. This is where you need David Beckham stepping up. I'm watching it on MUTV, Jad. Martial is looking. See, Ed Woodward says Thierry Martial. If Martial plays up front against a team that plays a deep line, he's not going to get the space. In a game like this, where he can turn and run into space, Martial becomes a threat. It's a bit like Ashley Young on the free kick, straight at the keeper. Absolute waster. Trying to get the glory there, Ashley Young. Oh, like me. Pathetic. Should have been Pereira on that free kick. He's just trying to stay relevant. That's what it is. Oh, I want to score a free kick so I can be relevant. The future is people like Pereira. Let him take it. Is it 4-3-3 or is it 4-2-3-1? It's 4-2-3-1. So McTominay and Pogba are sitting. Pereira in a sort of number... It's like it is on the screen. It's exactly that. I'll tell you what, though. We've had coming up for 17 minutes, and Greenwood's not been in the game at all, has he? He is very quiet, says Abdurrant. Yeah, he's been very, very quiet. We've not got... Martial's had the ball, Daniel James, Pereira's had plenty, McTominay and Pogba have been busy, but Greenwood's not been in the game at all so far. So, doesn't mean anything, really. But just a bit of an update. Spurs haven't done much. I think there is something in what somebody said to me on the show on Tuesday night's 8 o'clock show. They said that Spurs' fitness levels will be lower than ours because they're a week behind on the training. Ashley Young trying backflips there. And Spurs with another overhit cross. Be a good test for United this, though, because Spurs are a team that like to play on the front foot as well. Scott's looking good, says Tony. Yeah, I've been impressed with McTominay. I mean, look, McTominay over Matic every day of the week. Spurs on the attack. Stand him up, Smalling. Don't do anything stupid. Sissoko gets it wide. Cross comes in. Oh, God. Pereira, you can't play... Well, he got the free kick, but I tell you what, he played for the free kick there as well. Will Andreas be out Fernandez, says Nina Pandey. Only in a very B-Tech Stoke City way. I mean, Andres Pereira is not Bruno Fernandes, and we need to get that mentality killed quick. You know, you can't... no, spend the money if you want Bruno Fernandes. Don't try and pretend that Andres Pereira is going to be that player, because he's not. De Gea has earned captain, says Tyler Jackson. Kojo loves Manchester United. Good. Get Dybala, Bruno and Koulibaly, says Manradit. See, well, Transfer Daily tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. is going to be very interesting because basically all through the summer, Monday to Friday, I do a show at 7 a.m. UK time, and I have a hotometer on who I think is the most likely to come to United. Bruno Fernandes has been 9 out of 10 for the last few weeks. Obviously, he might not be tomorrow, so make sure you watch that. Got fan cams coming up after the game as well. Flex is out in China. So the vlogs, that one yesterday with the night skyline of Shanghai was just some of the best photography I've seen. It was amazing. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner. We're live every night at 8 o'clock. We've got the Transfer Daily at 7 a.m. Fan cams. We go to every game. We do the watch along every game. Match reaction, previews, the lot. We'll go live if there's any big news. So this is the place to be for United content. Subscribe, bottom right hand corner. And please do smash a like on the video. And also from tomorrow lunchtime, we've got some interesting content coming up for you. I can't say too much. Pineapples is what I'll say. So if you know, you know. If you don't know, you're going to like it. Tim McDonald, hi Mark. Is there any truth in the rumours linking us with Dynamo Zagreb striker Eva Harden? Apparently comes to life in and around the box. I don't know, Tim. I'll have to have a look into that for you. Yeah. And Lee Newman says apparently Milinkovic-Savic is almost done. Look, you know what? If we don't get Bruno Fernandes and we sign Milinkovic-Savic, I'm not gonna moan. I will moan because I've just totally flip-flopped there. I will moan because Bruno Fernandes is perfect for what United need, and we're idiots for not moving in for him. And I'll be gutted because I really wanted him. But if we get Milinkovic-Savic, I was saying the same about Milinkovic-Savic last year. So I would like to get him. I just don't know. I don't know that Milinkovic-Savic fits our style of play as well as Bruno Fernandes. He's more mobile, Bruno is. And Milinkovic-Savic is a little bit slower. And you look at the way United are playing, and they definitely want to play a quicker brand of football. So here's Pereira. Into Martial, he'll hit that first time. It's a goal! It's 1-0! Anthony Martial's on fire. Your defence is terrified. He's on fire. Call the police. There's been a murder. He's absolutely on form today, Anthony Martial. 1-0 to Manchester United. Slipped in by Pereira. Pereira with the assist in that number 10 role. Slips him in. And it is 1-0 to Manchester United. It hit the post before. He didn't miss that time. And I tell you what, we needed Anthony Martial to step up to the plate today. We needed Martial to step up to the plate. I think he's been quiet in the first few games of this tour. But today, against decent opposition, he has looked on fire. It's a lovely assist by Pereira. Lovely assist. And I think that the finish by Martial, he hits the target. That's what it's all about. He hits the target. Maybe the keeper should do a little bit better. But I tell you what, it's a good finish. And Manchester United go 1-0 up. Happy days, Martial. Bruno's a beast last night in the game versus Liverpool, says T. Ballard. He was. But Manchester United lead 1-0 here. Let's change the score. I tell you what, a lot of you, I've got to give you the high fives. I'll give you 10. You have said that Anthony Martial up front is the way to go. I think clinically, look, if you've got Anthony Martial and you've got Marcus Rashford fighting it out for that spot up front, interesting days for Manchester United. Interesting days for Manchester United, indeed. And there we go, 1-0. Yeah, I was more impressed with the assist by Pereira then. He's running at the back four. He slips Marcel into the right of the penalty box. He shoots on target, 1-0. And Martial's such an important player. If anyone's been watching this channel for a long time, you'd know that Martial is my favourite player. I gave him a lot of stick at the end of last season. It was justified stick. He was as bad as anybody else. He was as lazy and bottling and Pampers FC as anybody else. He deserved the criticism, but he is one of those players from that lot who I think can hit the heights. And look, maybe he's going to be playing down the middle. Maybe he'll play off the left sometimes. But the point is he needs to play games. He needs to feel wanted and he needs to feel like he's special. And I think Ollie will do that with him. So really good. Martial is looking like a different beast today, says Trading Cards and More. He spot on comment, mate. You know, I think we all said that. He needed, and Daniel James has gone down really badly clutching his knee here. So I don't know what's gone on. We need to keep an eye on that. He looks really... Oh no, I think he's all right. But it's Sissoko. There's a bit of pushing and shoving here. Pereira's a right little hothead. I love Pereira. I love it. I love Pereira. He's in there shoving all the time. I love Pereira. I always used to love Pereira. And then I thought, oh, he's not going to make it. And now he's going to make it. He's a lovely player. Love Pereira. But yeah, I think Daniel James is okay. The game is bubbling over a little bit. That's what you want. But Pereira's getting involved all the time, which is exactly what you want. We need some fight and fire in this team, so that's good to see. But what I was saying about Anthony Martial is I think on the pre-season so far he's looked a little bit off the pace. But today, definitely back in it. I mean, to be honest, that tackle by Sissoko, that's the nasty bit where he catches him in the chest. Does he do that on purpose? I don't think so. I think his eyes are on the ball, to be honest. I don't think Sissoko's that sort of a player. But I like the fact that Pereira's getting involved in stuff, niggling. Right, Young's got a chance to put a cross to the back post there. He shoots straight at the keeper. Stop trying to score goals, Ashley. Put the cross into the box, for God's sake. But a good first 25 minutes from Manchester United. And I'll tell you what, the real interesting thing about Manchester United so far is, if you're not watching the game, is we are not being exposed at the back because we're keeping the ball up in the Spurs half so much. But yeah, I think Spurs' fitness levels are not at the same level as ours for whatever reason. Maybe, well, each club does it differently, doesn't it? But yeah, we're keeping the ball in the final third, which is good to see from United. Fighting in pre-season. Mark, this is commitment, says Peninsula Floating Floors. Wan-Bissaka with a cross to the back post, and the keeper's got it for Spurs. But yeah, Spurs have not really done that much. Thoughts on Wan-Bissaka so far, said somebody. Tidy. Not been exposed at all. He's got forward nice. Yeah, I'm loving Pereira so far. Absolutely fantastic to see. Yeah, the goal was good. Somebody just said, what was the goal like? So Pereira's running at their back four, slips in Martial with the outside of his foot. Martial, diagonal, right-hand side, smashes it at the keeper. The keeper, it's at the keeper, but the thing is, as a striker, I think people get sort of... I always used to say this in coaching as well, and I used to do it as a player. I think people get so obsessed with putting it in the bottom corner and it being a clean goal. Most strikers will tell you, and a lot of strikers used to get taught this as well. If you're running through on goal and you're not totally confident that you can get it in the bottom corner or score the worldie, just smash the ball at the keeper's legs, because the keeper's legs are always moving. And that's what Martial did there. He shoots at the keeper's legs and it ends up in the back of the net. Not every goal has to be, look at the clean finish there. If it goes in the goal, it's a goal. So, yeah, good play that was. I like Martial up front so far, the legend. I do like Martial up front. The first couple of games I didn't, but today I think the way the game's gone, he's looked good. I think Spurs just look really isolated. Their Harry Kane up front looks absolutely isolated. He's not getting any support at all. Anthony Martial scored. Josh Kiano, yeah. And Ayush says, should we lose to get more signings? Mate, I said this before the game. I know there was a lot of people out there saying, I really hope United get dominated so we go out and make some more signings. I don't. I really don't. Because what if we don't make any more signings? These are the players that we need to rely on. So I would rather these players play well. And also, we got smashed by Liverpool in America last year. We didn't go and buy anybody. So it's not like the board will take any notice anyway. Final Frontier says, even though it's a friendly, I think it's going to end up with a few red cards at this rate. There should have been one for the stamp on James. It's tasty. It's very, very tasty. What advert was that? They're tasty, tasty, very, very, very tasty. They're very tasty. If anyone knows the answer, get it in the live comments. I think it's cornflakes. I just remember the rest of the song. It is. Lincoln Jack Dolmani says, Ashley Young versus Harry Kane, mega phlegm warfare. But no, you want a pre-season game to be competitive. You want it to have an edge, and there certainly is an edge here. I think United have got the edge in the fitness levels, though. You know what I'm saying? Pogba, how's Pogba saying, says Minnow. Well, look, it's not just all about what I think. Get in the live comments and have a say on how you think people are doing. I think Mason Greenwood's been ridiculously quiet. Ridiculously quiet. But it's not a bad thing. I mean, look, he's a young lad. He's going to have good games. He's going to have bad games. That's what happens when you're developing. And maybe Mason Greenwood's having a quiet game because he's having to be disciplined out on the right-hand side. Pogba. Some people would say Pogba's having a quiet game. I think he's having a very good game in a disciplined midfield performance with McTominay so far. Peninsula Floating Floors. Mark, I'm in Melbourne and 40 seconds ahead of you. Do you want me to super chat goal when they go in? You can super chat goal if you want to, mate. You're probably ahead of us in the UK because obviously the game's in China, so there will be some delay getting it over here. I'm sure you get it the other way when it's over in the UK. But thanks everyone for tuning in. It's a Thursday lunchtime in the UK, so it might be a lunch break, but I know it's a good kick-off time if you're over in Asia. It'll be early morning in places like America, but it's 1-0 to Manchester United. Encouraging so far. Spurs did have the best chance of the game with Dele Alli, but he's just a B-Tech Lingard. Harry Kane's got a free kick here. What I would say is he's about 35 yards out, maybe 40 yards against David De Gea. If I was De Gea, I would just put my cigar on and go, up yours, Harry Kane. You ain't going to score from there against me. You bloody arrogant show-off. You would never score from me. And he hasn't. It's gone way over the bar. I mean, you're not going to beat David De Gea from 40 bloody yards, you clown. You may as well put a wig on, Harry, and a bit of red makeup, you plonker. Do you notice a change in United's attack from last year, says James Kang? Yes, I do. I do, personally. I think that I think United's they're having a drinks break now, so that was a good timing question. Yeah, I think there's a lot more intensity from Manchester United, and as Ollie said in the press conference, there's a lot more focus to play on the front foot. And I think that we've got the formation spot on there, which is always nice. It is a 4-2-3-1, and I think United have played on the front foot, and Pereira's been really busy. And I think that position, if United are going to play a 4-2-3-1, that position's really important. I mean, look, it's heaven made for Bruno Fernandes, but if the club don't go and sign him, they don't go and sign him. But Pereira can do that role at the moment. Whether he can do it over a whole season, I don't know. Mata can't do that role because he's too slow. What I've liked about Pereira is his speed across the ground to press. Mata can never do that. Doesn't matter how good you think Mata is. Mata can never do that. And interestingly about Mata as well, if we don't sign Bruno Fernandes, it's a prime example of what our football club is. Because Juan Mata should have been moved on. He had a bad season last year. and he's well into his 30s, and he's on 140 grand a week. We should have moved Mata on. I love Mata, but we should have moved him on. It shows you everything you need to know about this club, that they keep a player like that rather than letting him go and buying a player like Bruno Fernandes, because it's cheaper. It's cheaper because Bruno Fernandes would probably be on the same wages as Mata, but you've got to pay 60 million. United go for the cheap option again. But that number 10 position that Pereira's been playing, maybe a Dybala, maybe a Milinkovic-Savic, who knows? But I do think we need somebody else in there, because I don't really think Lingard's good enough for it. Mini Morner, Rashi and Greenwood would swap. Martial wants the centre, that's why Green isn't involved as much. I think Greenwood works better with Rashi, he isn't a winger. I think that's a really good tactical point from Mini Morner there. I do think that Greenwood has been out on the right a lot. There's not been a lot of swapping. Chino, Mark, we're playing well defensively, but I'm really concerned about Chris Smalling, Jones and Rojo if we don't sign a centre-back. I do think we'll sign a centre-back, to be honest with you. I do think that we'll sign a centre-back. I don't really have any major concerns about that. I didn't fart. It's the thing I sit on. It just moves around on a leather chair. So don't be disgusting. I didn't fart. Dylan says, I think we kept Mata to keep De Gea at the club. Look, if we did do that, I don't have a problem with that. I think it's as good a reason as any to keep him at the club. So I wouldn't have a massive problem with that, to be honest with you. What flavour do you want the United stand cake? Says Lincoln Jack Dunham. I'd forgotten about this cake. What flavour can we have? Drop me an email, mate. Don't do me super chats for that. It's unfair on you. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right hand corner, we have got an instant match reaction straight after the game, where we'll review the game, give player ratings, etc. We'll also be talking about the transfer news. We've also got fan cams over there. Flex is in China, so they'll be filming fan cams out there as well. And Transfer Daily every morning at 7 a.m, 8 o'clock shows. Any breaking news, we go live. So subscribe to the channel, bottom right hand corner, and get involved. You're very welcome. You're going to love it. But Spurs are on the attack at the moment, coming down that right hand side. I can't read the names, you know. I can't read the names on the back of the shirts, and I don't know all of these Spurs players. That's Giorgio. So 10 minutes to half time. I think Spurs have just struggled in the final third. They've not committed enough men further forward. I don't know why I'm tactically analysing Spurs, because I'm a United fan, but yeah, they've struggled against United's press really. And Dembele doing quite well there. Leaves Pogba on his arse. This is taking my mind off my police fitness test. Thanks, Mark. If we kept the same squad, where would we finish in the league, says Ryan Wilson. Look, this squad that we have at the moment, there is a theory that Manchester United could still finish in the top four, and of course they could do, but it's not about whether we should. It's not whether we could. We should. And this summer should have been about spending 200 million, because it needs to be spent, and then I'd be confident that we can get in the top four. As it stands at the moment, I don't know. That was nearly a great ball through to Greenwood, but they've cut it out. Peninsula Floating Floor says, Mark, I feel everyone's up in their game. What do you think? Maybe they are watching your vids and they're going to try and earn their weekly salary. Yes. My only concern with this team is that if we go into a season with it, could Pereira play like this for 38 games? I don't think he could. Could McTominay do it for 38 games? It's a big ask. It's a big ask to get potential to suddenly be consistent week in, week out, because potential by its very nature is going to be inconsistent, because it's all about developing, isn't it? And I think United lack a bit of Herrera was a big loss, because Herrera was a player that gives you 7, 8 out of 10 every week. Can we get that from these players that are potential? And people would say, well, you're only going to get it by playing them, which is right, but normally you'd only play 1 or 2 of those players. We're going to have to go into next season playing 4 or 5 of those players. Martial is pressing, says Amarafar 04. He is. He's impressing as well. I hope you like what I did there. Do you want me to say it again? Yeah, he is pressing very well from the forwards positions. I think the whole team's pressed, and that's caused Spurs a lot of problems. I'm going to stand up and give it a stretch a bit. Got my shorts on today because it's baking. It's bacon hot. in the UK. Get down. It's bacon. Is Ndembele playing, says Karan Cooper. Well, I don't know whether that's sarcasm or not, but he's not really been in the game that much, admittedly. Amos says, Martial as a striker is a nay from me. I like Martial at left wing, to be honest with you. And anti-matter propaganda still going, I see, says Biggie Third. Pogba, worst of 3 midfield. Lost me for good. Ollie's high press out the window after 10 minutes. Ollie not good enough. What? We're pressing now, mate. That's got to be a banter statement. That's got to be a banter comment. I think United have pressed so high up the pitch, and there's been so much energy from Pogba and McTominay, who've been very disciplined. I disagree with that comment, to be honest with you. What do I think of Daniel James, says Lamar? He's a work in progress, and I'm willing to be patient with that. I'm willing to be patient with Daniel James. He is definitely a work in progress. So, thoughts on Sky saying Bruno isn't a United target, says Fian McCabe. Well, we spoke about it at the start of the game. Maybe we can pick it up at half time. I'll certainly mention it in my match reaction. Think you missed my last chat, says Sonny S. Sorry, pal. Sorry, they do whiz quite through. I'll try and see if it's still up there. But you can tell Spurs' attack is bad when Rojo and Smalling have had nothing to do. But Spurs have a bit of possession now. But United break away. Every time Spurs try to make something happen, United win it back and oh, come on. That's a right dive by Harry Kane. He takes the ball, Pereira, there. Kane's a diving bitch. Oh, whatever. Whatever. That is no way. That is no way a yellow card. There. So, Pereira dives in with a good tackle. Ooh. He did show his studs, though. He did show his studs. I'm gonna be honest. It's because he got the ball first, you see. When you see somebody get the ball first, you think, oh, it wants a bad tackle. But he was showing those studs, boys and girls, and that is why it was a yellow card. The referee got it right. We'll give him that. Ashley Young. Oh, we've had a comment about Ashley Young. Ashley Young is the only one not pressing, says AB. Hey Mark, whatever happened to transfer news for Leon Bailey? I would still like him as a potential winger, says James Kang. Well, we're just not in for Leon Bailey, are we? Corner for Spurs here. I need to be careful because they are the dominant force in this game, but we're only 1-0 up. I'm watching it on entry extracts. I'm watching it on MUTV. Spurs into the box. Cross comes in. Pereira today, though, says Eric. Oh, he's been fantastic, Pereira. I mean, the only thing about Pereira you've got to be careful about is he a little bit too exuberant? But, will he pick up a lot of yellow cards and maybe red cards? Greenwood's just had one through the back there as well. Some nasty little tackles gone in today. Got to be honest. Got to be honest with you. Hayden Scott, it's on MUTV. Why do people keep asking? Every pre-season game's on MUTV. Hey, Liverpool fan talking about 6 times. Piss off with your European Cups and leave us alone. We're having a rebuild. Come back in about 10 years. Greenwood still number 54 on your Easter eggs. says Aaron MacArthur. Yeah, the thing is, our graphics, we are going to change them, so I just haven't been asked to change the numbers, although I did get Wan-Bissaka right. But we're going to change the kits and everything like that. So Martial's in here, another mistake by Vertonghen. Ooh, and he lobbed it over the bar anyway, but it was given as a foul, and it didn't go in. Trash the Young and Greg Smalling, bad, says T Ballard. Well, Spurs will be somewhat irritated that they haven't exploited our weak defence. Ding dong, ding dong, ding 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 ding. So we're about approaching half time. Is it me or American owners just dumb? Says Adam Smith. I think it's a bit general. That's a big generalisation. You know, the owner of Newcastle's not from America and he's shite. Spurs coming into this a little bit more now. You just wonder whether United's press... I mean, that's one thing I was going to say. Ooh, what a cross that is. Harry Kane didn't quite get there. I don't know whether it was good defending by Smalling. But that's one thing I was going to say about United's press. It's good. Could they do it all season? Can they do it for 90 minutes? You've got to be very clever when you're doing the press. You've got to take a breather every now and again because you can't do it for 90 minutes. No team can. Chambon. I've been impressed with United because that defence is not good apart from Wan-Bissaka and De Gea. That's a bad back four that Spurs just haven't been able to get at, which shows you how effective Manchester United's press has been from the front six. Right, Wan-Bissaka, Martial refused the ball to Wan-Bissaka twice there, which is a shame because he had so much space, and it finds its way to Wan-Bissaka now, but there was a lot of space there to do that ball before that was done. Ooh, the 1-2s. Approaching half time. Probably add about 10 minutes on because they seem to add a relevant time on in these pre-season games. I feel a bit sick. Imagine if I was sick on live air. It's because it's dinner time and I haven't had my beans on toast. It's my tummy telling me, where's my 1 o'clock beans on toast, which I can't have till about 2:30. So what are you thinking about the half? Here's Daniel James. Oh, he's been tackled. He's raw, Daniel James, isn't he? But look at the pace there to win that back. Impressive. Most impressive. To be honest, I think it will go down to penalties. Oh, says MC Benny. I don't know who hit that. Somebody just hit a shot. Pogba. Nearly just scored an absolute worldie here. Bloody hell. I'll tell you what, if that goes in, Real Madrid would pay 200 million. It was Juventus days Pogba, that was, the way he hit that. And that's the advantage of Pogba coming from deep. That's what she said. But no, like when he was at Juventus, he used to score those bangers because he was coming from deep. Like he was coming really deep. He was coming from deep per positions. So yeah, it's a lovely shot though by Pogba, just wide. And United lead 1-0 at half time. Be interesting to see second half what substitutions we make, if any, because United comfortably in front 1-0. Spurs, to me, look like a team that's not at the same fitness levels as ours. But it's 1-0 at half time to Manchester United. Let's stop the timer. And let's take some of your questions and thoughts on Darmian, Rojo and Young still being at the club by the closet window, says Jason Walker. Well, Young's definitely going to still be at Manchester United. Rojo probably we can't get rid of. And Darmian, I think, has to go, doesn't he? Pankaj says, what a match. And Brendan McLenihan says, Mark, do you think the board are going to wait until the 8th to sign Bruno Fernandes so they can give him the number 8 jersey? No one's taking the number 8 off Mata, is it? It's not going to happen. Spurs will still win this, as Mark Morris. I think Spurs, and as I say, I don't know why I'm saying this because it's a United channel, but I think from a Spurs point of view, very lethargic as a team, lots more mistakes in them than we've had, and not a lot going on in the final third. So yeah, but I'd like to see Spurs do a little bit more, because I think every time that Spurs have attacked us and we've hit them on the break, that's where we've caused them the most problems. We'll talk about Bruno Fernandes in a moment. Swapping shirts at half time, says Four Thoughts. I think some of those players probably aren't going to come on at the second half, are they? That's why. But in general, Manchester United lead 1-0. Interesting game. A lot of intensity. Quite a few yellow cards. I've loved Andreas Pereira's performance. I think for me at the moment, he would be my man of the match. He got the assist on the goal. But let's talk about a couple of things happened before that. United jumping on a couple of mistakes by Spurs. Pereira running at the back four. Tries to feed Martial in. Doesn't work. Then James runs at the back four. Feeds Martial in. Edge of the box, left-footed. Shoots across the goal. Hits the post. It bounces out. Really good play there from Martial. Spurs go up the other end. Dele Alli put in one-on-one. Shoots low, not very hard, but De Gea makes a good save. And then United are 1-0 up. Pereira running at the back four again. Successfully slips in Martial this time, who shoots at the near right post at the keeper's legs, and it's 1-0 to Manchester United. Not really any great chances after that, but Pogba right on half-time, blasting the shot from 30 yards just wide. It would have been a worldie. But United's press has been impressive. You've got Rojo, Smalling and Young playing in the back four. They've not been exposed. They've not been exploited because, quite frankly, the front six of Pogba, McTominay, Pereira, Greenwood, James and Martial have pressed so effectively. And the press isn't about just running after people. It's about doing it collectively. Like, if two people press and one doesn't, then the team will find that weak spot where no one's pressing. We have pressed collectively, and that is why Spurs have struggled. So really encouraging from Manchester United to see that against the decent side that's used to being pressed, that's used to moving the ball around. Of course, it's not Spurs' strongest side, but it's not our strongest side either. And I think for a pre-season game to be 1-0 up against Spurs and playing the way we are, I think the encouraging thing is what I said right at the start of the tour. It's not about winning games, it's not about losing games, it's about the way we're playing in those games. And I think United have been really, really impressive over the tour in general as to the intensity and the ability to play on the front foot and press. A win is not good, the board will think all is fine, says Meb third. I really think that people need to stop thinking that losing to Spurs will mean we're going to sign players. The evidence, Manchester United board don't think like that. All they think about is saving money. Because last season, we played Liverpool in America. We got absolutely smashed and we never signed another player. So even if Spurs beat us 6-1 in the second half, we won't go and sign players off this performance. We're going to sign players off the list that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gave to the board, that they decide to pick players from that board, that list, and sign players. So I don't agree that losing this game is going to do that. And I'd flip it the other way and say, to be honest with you, what if we don't sign any players? What if we don't sign any players and we've got to go with the players that we've got? You know, you want them to be performing, don't you? And I think Pereira's been the standout player for me. Paul, can you hear me?
Yes, mate. You're right.
I'm good, thanks. What do you think on that half?
Yeah, it's positive.
Yeah.
Thing I like about it is we can tell a defined style. Every time we played this season, we've played the same way, regardless of who is in any position. So, Ollie Ball is real.
Yeah, Spurs have really struggled with the press, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. And it's because we've got young, energetic forwards that start the press, and there's a definite backup from everyone else, apart from Pogba. I don't know what happened to him. He's kind of disappeared in this match. But in terms of the press...
Do you think Pogba had a bad game then? It's interesting, because a few people in the live comments did as well.
I don't think he had a bad game. He's disappeared. Him and Greenwood have not been involved as much as I would like, because they're the two players that I really want to see.
Yeah, I think Greenwood was quiet because he stayed out on the right a lot. But I actually thought that, to be honest, I think Pogba and McTominay had a good game, because I think it was almost from Pogba. It's a bit like the classic Carrick performance where people might not notice it, but actually their synergy and symmetry and, and communication Spurs couldn't get through that midfield too. So I think Pogba had a low-key good first half, I thought.
I like Pereira and McTominay. I've got to say it. They're the two I was kind of worrying about, and they're the two they've excelled this game. They've worked well together. McTominay's sweeping up behind. Pereira's creative. What I like about Pereira is if there's no pass on, he's progressive. He'll touch a ball past one of the midfielders for Tottenham, and then it gets the whole team on the front foot. Once you beat that first man, Spurs start pushing back. We start pushing forward as a team. And we're on the attack, and then Spurs condense in the middle. Our wingers are available all the time. I just wish we haven't got that player that does the Scholes pass. You know what I mean? McTominay did one in the first half. You just switch the play, spread the ball. Because I noticed James is in a lot of space a lot of the time, but he's not being found. And when he is, there's a lot of space on the other side. So if we can get that, dare I say, Longstaff, I'll get some pelts.
You love Longstaff. Paul loves Longstaff.
Don't know what it is, Mark. I see the way
none of us do. None of us do, to be honest.
No, apparently I'm the only one. Yeah. But someone of Scholes' ilk, not Scholes, obviously, just to spread the ball, switch the play when we get pressed on one side or the other. But overall, very positive for me.
Metal Music Review says, credit to Dan James too. A lot of negative tackles and he's kept going, giving 100%. Very impressive. I think Daniel James is just a raw talent and people need to be patient with him. But what he does give you is he's really good at the press as well because he's quick. Peninsula Floating Floors says, Mark, I've suffered from depression for 6 years since losing my parents. Your daily videos and humour get me out of bed in the morning. Dave having a VB. Well, you know what? In a laid back pre-season game. That is a really nice comment, and look, we've got a great community here, and whether it's the mods like Paul or the graphics Drawty, whatever, we have got a great community, and we always have, and so you're very welcome, and I'm glad you're enjoying the content. Man United Lounge. Sorry, Paul. I'll jump across you.
No, if there's one person out there, there's more people out there suffering from similar things, and I believe this channel does help people in that respect. I really do. I think that's one of the great things about this channel. It does bring a lot of people together. You feel part of a community. And this is why I got involved in it. So fair play to that comment. That's fantastic.
Exactly, and that's why we do try to be consistent in what we do. Like every game, we've got a watch along, match reactions, fan cams, 8 o'clock shows, 7 o'clock shows, react to any breaking news because people know the United Stand are going to be live and we're going to be there for you to interact with people. So make sure you are subscribing if you're new, you will enjoy it. Man United Lounge Australia, Martial Striker is going to be crazy. Love your work, Mark. Shout out to Robbie, Tamim and H from Australia. Cheers, pal. And Hayed Haman says, please shout out Ula Raslan watching from the Gold Coast in Australia. Glory, glory, Manchester United. It's great, actually, to have so many people from Australia watching at a time that's probably sort of evening rather than having to be 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. But, Paul, I was going to ask you about Martial and Rashford. I think a lot of people are starting to think it will be Rashford, but it's only pre-season. The thing I like about Martial is, and I thought he'd had a quiet pre-season so far, he has pressed today. And the thing about Martial over Rashford is he is the better finisher. He is... dead eyes, isn't he? He's very, very clinical, and it'd be interesting if those two really go for it for that number 9 role.
If you could merge Rashford and Martial into the same player, then they'd be unstoppable. Because with Martial, I've always worried about his movement. His natural movement into space and running in behind, whereas Rashford has got that. But Martial's finishing is deadly. You can see it. He just knows what to do. Whereas Rashford, I think he overthinks things. So it'll be an interesting battle between those two. But imagine if they're both going at it. Imagine if we can't choose between them because they're both on form. That is terrifying. This is the thing. We've got so much potential, but we need those couple of experienced midfielders to come in just to solidify everything. And
the midfield's the weak spot, isn't it? And just we were talking about this before. For anybody who wasn't watching the show, this is why you should tune in early on the watch-alongs, because we have an hour before kick-off where we talk about stuff. So Sky Sports basically saying that Manchester United not in for Bruno Fernandes, which then Steve Bruce late last night, I don't know whether you saw this, Paul, you'll be disappointed. He basically says he doesn't want to sell Longstaff either. So United's midfield is... Look,
I choose not to believe that, Mark.
Yeah. I don't want to believe the Bruno one either, so high five. But we and Pogba wants to leave. So the midfield is where games are won and lost. We're winning this game because the midfield's dominated and stopped and protected the defence. So I like Pereira.
Yeah, our midfield is not the strongest we can put out,
No.
And definitely not if we get more signings in. But the constructive way it's organised, Tremolli, has stopped Tottenham performing, even though it's not their best team, and they are a week behind in training.
Yeah.
But we have negated their attack and isolated Harry Kane, which I believe that was the plan to start off with. So as far as I'm concerned, Ollie's tactics are working.
Yeah,
We just need to fill a couple of gaps to improve the team. And I think, there's positivity about Mark. There really is.
The thing is, I mean, Man United Lounge Australia is talking about Bruno Fernandes, and Ben Van Billion says the intensity is what we've lacked since Sir Alex. It's what's making us giddy again. Maguire in the back line will give even more security. Look, and Phil Mitchell says, can you explain Nicky Butt's role, please? Basically, he's in charge of bringing youth players through to the first team. But what I was going to say about the midfield is, I like Herrera. He's gone, sorry. I like Pereira. I like McTominay, and I like Fred. But you've got 3 players there that you can't hang your hat on. They're all potential. And you can't go into a massive season with 3 potentially good midfielders, because potential is, by its definition, inconsistent. You've got Pogba, and then you got Matic. I don't rate Matic. Pogba, I do rate. And then you've got 3 potentially good midfielders. You need at least 1 or 2. You needed a Herrera, really. You need somebody who's going to give you 8 out of 10 every week, just to help the potential through. And I think, who United are going to go for now, I don't know. I still think
I'd like Savage, but
well, yeah, maybe the Italian outlets are convinced we're in for him. And I always thought he would only come if we're going to get rid of Pogba. Which, I tell you what, if Pogba goes and then you just bring Milinkovic in, then we're even weaker. You've got... Look, I'm Bruno Fernandes. I can only drive the ship that looks like it's sinking. And that is that United scouted him all last season. Ollie likes him. But if the club are saying that we're not in for him, then, I wouldn't be surprised, because it's staring them in the face that he's exactly what we need. And why would you not go and spend £60 million to do it? I just don't get it. But as I said, there's no point arguing with fans. There's no point being pissed off with Ollie. This is the board. It's the same board that didn't give Moyes what he wanted. It didn't give Mourinho what he wanted. It didn't give Van Gaal what he wanted. And it's failed over the last 6 years. Why are we surprised?
We're not, though, are we?
No.
That's the thing. I mean, we know Bruno Fernandes has cost £60 million for the last 2 months. Why have we not bought him?
Yeah. And it's like Maguire, isn't it?
Again, we know how much he costs, but we haven't bought him. So
the thing about Maguire, though, just very quickly, I want to get your point on this before the game starts again. A lot of people don't like the fact that Harry Maguire's worth 80 million, but Van Dijk went for 75 million from Southampton. Forget how good Van Dijk is. At Southampton, he wasn't the best centre-back in the world. He was a good centre-back. Maguire won't be as good as Van Dijk. I agree with that. But Van Dijk from Southampton went for 75 million. Maguire is Premier League proven. He's England's best centre-back, and he's English. The bidding starts at 75 million. I'm sorry. Whether people think he's worth it or not, the evidence is there that the bidding starts at 75 million. And United seem to be struggling with that yet again, trying to grind it down to below that. But I think he is an £80 million player, and you either pay it or you don't.
Yeah, Mark, you've said it so many times. There's a United tax, there's an English tax, there's a Premier League proven tax. So he's worth 60 million. The tax is an extra 20 million. It's as simple as that. In today's market, he is worth 80 million. As a player, probably not, but there's no getting around it. 80 million is the value of the player. What he's worth is a different story.
Right, I will get you on for the last 10 minutes again, Paul, if that's all right.
Yeah, crack on, pal. Good. Hopefully we have a good second half. I'll speak to you in a bit.
Cheers, mates. We have just kicked off the second half, so I had to rush with that bit there. But good points from Paul there. We need to figure out what this second half team is, and then I will get it up for you. That's what she said. Love the community vids. Thanks, Jim. Silverbridge says Goff Inc. Gardner. Good shout out for Jim. Let's get the live comments going. And it's going to take me a minute to figure out. Rashford's on the pitch. Mata's on the pitch. Lingard's on the pitch. So it looks like we've changed our team entirely. Spurs haven't, because they've still got Dele Alli on, but they've got Son on as well. It looks to me like United have changed their whole team, because it's Bailly, Romero's in goal, Luke Shaw, Lindelof, Bailly, Delo at right back, Fred, Matic, Mata, Lingard, Rashford, Gomez. So yeah, there's your team. I'll get that up for you now. So he's changed the whole team at half time, which is obviously it's a momentum killer. I think this team second half won't be as good as the first team in the first half because you've got Matic in the midfield. Then again, Fred can press. You've got Matic and Mata in the midfield who are slow. So I think it will slow us down a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I will change that lineup for you in a minute because you're going to get confused, baby. You're going to get confused. So kick-off, as we have kicked off in the second half, and there's a new United lineup for the second half, as there always is. Roll on the real season. We don't have to change the whole graphics. Also, if we have to pay that for Harry, do it, says Isaac Prem. MUTV's the place to get the game if you want to get it. But it's United again on the front foot. I'm just trying to figure out if we're playing a 4-2-3-1 again. Here's Fred. He'll have a shot. He shoots wide. Because I don't know whether Lingard would play in the front three or Mata's playing in the front three. Who's dropping into the number 10. Probably be a lot of interchangeability, actually. We're rolling out the words today, folks. We've got some interchangeability in the house. So, Joe Gomez is a good player, Bright. He's a good player. I don't have any problems acknowledging the fact that Liverpool have got some good players. Fabinho's the player I think United should have tried to get 2 years before you signed him. I'm always disappointed in that. We got Matic. Yabba dabba doo. But Spurs, it'll be interesting to see if Spurs can make any inroads in this second half. No Phil Jones yet. No. There is a God. I'm Jordan late. I'm just changing this team here. Rashford. Smalling's gone. Lingard's on. Pereira's off. Rojo's off. Fred is on. Young is off. Delo is on. No Ander Herrera. You don't play for us anymore. Chong. McTominay. Greenwood. You know what I'm saying? No, Chong's not on. Yeah, it would have been nice to see a bit of Chong. Actually. Luke Shaw is on. Yeah. This is bullshit, isn't it? Having to do all this. Matic and Fred. Mata, Lingard, Dan James, Joe Gomez, Marcus Rashford. Export, desktop. Spurs on the attack. So that's a good run by Jesse. Tackled. Needed to get rid of that. I think he just wanted to get a little bit closer to goal to have a shot, but a good run by Jesse Lingard there. Right, I'm about to do something crazy here. I'm going to change the team for you. No, I'm not. Onto the bar from Son. Watching this back, ball over the top, beats the offside run. That was totally about Delo, and then the chip over the bar. Right, this should work. Yep, but it's not 0-0. We got it. We got the team for you there. Took a few seconds, but we're up. So United on the attack. Have a shot, Jesse. Goes wide. Mata. I mean, Lingard's got to have a big season this year as well, hasn't he? Lingard's got to have a big season. Rashford's got to have a big season. Martial's got to have a big season. McTominay, Pereira, Fred, they've got to step up to the plate. There's a lot of people who've got to do a lot of good things this season, isn't there? So Spurs are going to be more of a threat this second half because they've got Lucas Moura and Son on, who've got ability. So, yeah, be a different second half, I believe. Make sure you're subscribing if you're new, bottom right-hand corner. Welcome to the United Stand. We've got live shows every evening, Transfer Daily every morning. We're live for every match. We've got match reactions. We've got fan cams. We've been at every ground on the tour. We will be in Norway next Tuesday, Cardiff the following week, and then obviously it's Chelsea the following week after that. The real stuff starts. So get involved with the channel and the community. Fantastic community. Really good community, and I've said it again, but yeah, subscribe, bottom right hand corner, get your notifications on. Actually, I saw an interesting stat the other day when I was looking in the back end of YouTube that only 25% of our YouTube subscribers have their notifications on. Do you know how to put your notifications on YouTube? If you're on a mobile, you have to go into settings, go to apps, click on YouTube, and then turn your notifications on. Or if you are subscribed, click the bell and always get notifications from this channel. I've taught you something there. You might wonder, why don't I get notifications? Because you probably haven't got them on. Tony says Fred's going to have his work cut out with Matic. Yeah, look, it's a different. I will talk about this in the match reaction when I'm proved right. But United will not be as effective in this second half because Matic is too slow. Anthony Martial scored. Simless Yash. Few people asking who scored. Anthony Martial. But Spurs are being more progressive in this half, and you know, I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that Matt has tried to get back there and then he can't get forward. Too slow. And Cal Bessie says, why is Mata playing? Because we're giving him a new contract. He's got to play games. Here's Son into the box up against Eric Bailly. Oh, he was offside anyway. Son puts Bailly on his arse. I think he was offside. He's a good player though, Son. Oh my God. Oh my God. You won't believe it. Eric Bailly injured. Get rid of him. Seriously, get rid of him. Eric Bailly injured after 5 minutes. Got to let him go. I mean, what? How's he got himself injured here? Same nonsense again. He stretches his body. I tell you what the problem is with he thinks he's that bloody toy he used to be able to buy. Elastic Man. He stretches his body into stupid positions if he just didn't do it. He injures himself with stupid body patterns. Like he's basically doing the splits in midair there. He's gonna. I feel sorry for the lad because I think he's potentially a very, very good player. But you cannot. I remember saying this like 6 years ago. When we were getting a lot of injuries at centre back. Centre back partnerships need to play 90% of the season together. You know they do, and United just don't have centre backs who stay fit long enough. And Eric Bailly, like I said, he could be Franco Baresi reincarnated as a footballer. But if he can't play 50% of the season, you've got to get rid of him. There's no point. It's like having Ronaldo, but him being injured all the time. You'd be better off having Lukaku, who plays every week. Well, I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, it's just not. It's a shame. So Phil Jones will probably come on now. But Spurs have been a much better threat since Son and Moura have come on. Be a corner. Stretch Armstrong, that was the name. 430 King. Stretch Armstrong is the name. Yeah. So Spurs have got a corner here. United have been lacklustre this half, but I think that's because they lose the tempo. So Twansebi's on for Bailly. And there'll be a corner here for Spurs. I mean, he's only, the thing about Eric Bailly is he's literally only just back from injury anyway. He didn't play in the AFCON because of injury. So he's just one injury after another. And again, you've got to feel sorry for Ollie, because he's inherited this player. It's not his fault. It ain't his fault, people, but it is what it is, and that's what we're stuck with, isn't it? We're stuck with these sort of players. Do you get me? How did he get injured, says Christopher. Stretching. There's an overlap. Turn the other way. Mata saw it. Angel Gomez. Let's see if we can see a bit from Angel. Go on, Angel. Go on, Angel. Poor pass to Fred. Wins it back, though. Nah, go out for a throw. Hopefully Axel performs good, says Xavier Daniels. Well, that is the saving grace, isn't it? Because if Bay's going to be injured, maybe that's why we got Twansibe. But it also totally highlights why we need a centre-back. Because Lindelof's good enough, but who's the player that plays with Lindelof? Twansibe I don't think's ready. Jones and Smalling not good enough. Rojo not good enough. Eric Bailly could be good enough, but he's injury prone. Exactly why we need a centre-back. That was good, Mark. I thought that was music playing in the background, says Kilfan fan. I think you're being sarcastic. But if you're not, thanks for that. And that's a good point from Marvin Eden. He says that Eric Bailly has just become our new Owen Hargreaves. Loads of potential to be a really good player at United, but injury is going to define them, and it's a shame. It's a shame. What do we know now, boy? But we've totally different team second half because Matic is too slow. Spurs on the attack again. Spurs are like us first half. They're the better team at the moment. Crimson says Manchester United want Dembele from Lyon. I don't think Lyon will sell Dembele. They've already sold 3 players now, and Dembele, Mendy and Fekir, and I don't think that they will want to sell any more players, so I don't think we'll be getting him. I want United to sign some midfielders anyway. Midfield is where we're really lacking. So, but this is a tale of two halves. Really is at the moment. Totally different team second half. Here's Lingard. Fred, have a shot. Ooh, forced to save. He forced to save there, lads and ladies. Well done, Lindelof. Some ads has just said that Smalling's better than Lindelof. Oh, mate. Oh, dear. You probably think like a pizza is better than a lasagna. Something stupid like that. Maybe this forces us to sign Maguire, says Brendan McLennan. Look, we're trying to sign Maguire anyway. I don't think that the injury to Bay changes that. But I would say that the injury to Bay is probably going to be significant. I would imagine he's probably going to be out for a month or two now. And Spurs make a few subs that make them stronger because Eriksen's coming on. So they've got Mora, Son and Eriksen in their final third. 100 Ways How to Injure Yourself, says Udit Batanaga. Yeah, Eric Bay can release that book. And T. Ballard says, Ollie has taught good pressing technique to cut off lanes and close down space. Basic pressing, but something we have missed, discipline and persistence. I think it worked really well in the first half, but I think already in this first 15 minutes of the second half, you can see that it doesn't work when you've got slow players like Matic and Mata. They can't press because they're not quick enough. Are you happy that McTominay is a starter next season, says Ryan FTW? I'd rather McTominay started over Matic for that reason I've just said. Matic can't press, at least McTominay can. So it goes to penalties if it ends in a draw. That is right. Christopher Morton says, I'll say this for Darmian, he's almost always healthy. Then again, seat splinters rarely kept you out of action. Well, Darmian can't even get on in the pre-season, can he? So he's just not part of the plans. They just can't get rid of him. I mean, Darmian, again, epitomises what's wrong with United. They spend quite good money for a right-back. Did we get him from Torino? And he's been here for years and hardly ever played because we can't get rid of him. But he's probably on really good wages as well because we buy badly. United seem to be obsessed with any signing they make, paying ridiculous wages. Oh, come to United and we'll pay you double what you're worth, so that when you flop, we can't sell you. Do. I've not even noticed Matic in this game, and yet McTominay and Pogba, you knew exactly what they were doing, So, but. You know, I'm not even gonna moan about Matic because we all know the problem is if you want to play a high intensity on the front foot game, you're not going to be able to do that when you've got a player like Nemanja Matic in your side because he's just not going to be able to do it. Fred with the tackle there. But it's still Spurs mainly on the attack. Son. Oh, he's overplayed that, has he? Cross comes in. Headed away by Twansibi. Well headed away. Lucas Moura took it down well. Shouldn't be able to do that. And it's a goal. Oh, it's a dodgy goal as well. It's a rubbish goal. Well, Romero's smiling. There's nothing he can do. It deflects in. But ultimately, it's poor. It's poor from United because Lucas Moura goes up in the air. Lucas Moura controls it on the edge of the box with 4 United players around him. He controls it, then gets the shot off. He shouldn't even be able to control it. So let's watch this back, please. Let's see who is at fault because he should not be able to control that on the edge of the box. The shot's lucky, it deflects in, but can you please show us the goal back, please? Because it was dodgy. It was a dodgy goal. So the cross comes in from Spurs. Headed away by Twansibi, Son, and it's Matic. Bloody Matic. Oh, God. You can't let a player control the ball on the edge of the box. He takes... How many touches does Moura take here? 1, 2, 3, 4! 4 bloody touches on the edge of the box and Matic doesn't get anywhere near him. That is jokes. He's a donkey. He is so slow. It is a joke, but it is 1-1. And the goal's a bit dodgy, but the reality is he takes 4 touches there. I mean, I would be annoyed with Matic if Lucas Moura hit that first time and it went in, because of how slow he closes him down. But he has 4 touches, including the shot. It's like, it's just not good enough, that. Not good enough at all. 1-1 it is. And it's Lucas Moura who scores it. Slow closing down. And, you know, Matic won't do himself any more favours, will he? I mean, he's already a player that people are highlighting as being a problematic player in a team that wants to play to press and be on the front foot. And he's only going to get worse at his age. Only going to get worse at his age. I just really wish that there was actually something in these rumours that Inter Milan want to sign him, because he's donkey. He's donkey. I think, and I tell you what, I think Matic in Serie A would be a good player because it's a much slower football. If I was Nemanja Matic, I'd want to get away. Here's Gomez into the box. He's got away. Ooh, shoots over the bar. A little bit of a toe ender. But yeah, Matic in Serie A would probably be quite good. But in the fast-paced Premier League, he's only going to get more and more exposed. Mark, you answered my question on the Q&A. I asked if there's a chance of United signing somebody this week. You said it would be a wasted one. So depressing. Bring in Maguire, Bruno and Lozano. Make the fans believe. That's from Sati Singh. I really hoped that United would sign a player this week. I mean, I remember when we were 3 weeks away from the transfer window closing, and I was like, we can't surely get to within 2 weeks and still not have signed anybody else. And yet we did. But Spurs are all over United at the moment. United are really not playing well. And I do think a lot of it's to do with the fact that we've slowed down a lot in this second half with Mata and Matic. I mean, Mata's been invisible, the invisible man again. Matic is worse than Young. Also, at least Young can press, says Dazu W. I think also Matic plays in such an important area of the pitch that you get exposed with that. But what we got, 20 minutes to go in this game. I think that I'd be surprised if they don't go on to win this, Spurs. Although maybe United can grab another one. So it's a corner for United. Lingard takes it quick, because we haven't got anyone with any set-piece delivery now. But this is exactly why I get mad about lack of signings, whether it's Bruno Fernandes, Harry Maguire, but mainly the midfield, because we, effectively, our best midfield three is Pogba, McTominay and Pereira. Like Mata, Lingard and Matic, they just don't cut the mustard. So we're so weak in that midfield area, and we've not bought anybody, and we need to buy 2. So on a one-off game, we're fine. But on a 38-game season, you've got to have depth, because you're going to get injuries, you're going to get suspensions. That team is terrible. It's still the squad from last year with Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka added. It's still the same squad as last year, and it's still not good enough. And we've not done enough in the transfer window. And there's still time, of course. But here's Lucas Moura into the box. But Spurs have been the dominant force in this half. I don't think we were ever in for Lucas Moura, Christopher Morton. We were linked to him, but I don't think we were really in for him. Pepe's agents at Napoli, apparently. Somebody just said, well, we're not in for Pepe, are we? The club have said that as well. It's like they're proud of the fact that we're not in for players that we should be in for. No, we're not in for them. We're getting really annoyed with the Portuguese press talking about Bruno Fernandes. I wish they'd stop linking us to a player that we should be fucking buying. Like, we want to keep our money and earn more interest. We're really frustrated. We must tell Sky Sports that we're not in for players. You're confusing us with a club that has ambitions. We're not that club. We just want to get on with what we've got and get by and earn loads of money off the massive revenue streams we make off our huge fan base that was based on 30 years of success. We want to wring every last pound out of it before we sell and get out. I think we have got owners who don't understand why Manchester United have huge revenue. We've got huge revenue because under Sir Alex, we dominated football for a long time and a lot of people supported our club. But they're not going to keep, youngsters of today, they're not all picking United. They're not. I see it. I live in the Midlands. Like, there's not loads of United fans. There's Barcelona fans, there's Spurs fans, there's even City fans, there's Liverpool fans. They're not going to pick our club anymore. But our owners are living off the legacy of the last 30 years. But in 10 years' time, that legacy will start to die off. We are a cash cow. I think they'll take every bit of cash they can, then they'll sell us because they don't even support the club. Yeah, Rashford's not been very good this half, Sarup, has he? I mean, it's difficult to come on second half, I think, and make an impact. And also, it's very difficult to be Rashford and Gomez and Lingard when you've got Matic and Mata for your creativity. And obviously, that back four, Twan-Sebi, Lindelof and Shaw and Dalot is better than the back four in the first half. But the back four in the first half was protected from a very good front six. Whereas this half, our back four is being exposed by a not good front six. I'd get Chong on anyway. Give us a bit of impetus in these last 20 minutes. Here's United on the attack. Cross from Dalot. Ooh, it's a corner. Domingo OT says, I've got a horrible feeling that's it on transfers. I'm going to stay positive on transfers and believe that we will still do it. I mean, Solskjaer himself, there was a story this morning, Solskjaer himself said that there's still time to get a couple in and a couple out. So I'm still hopeful that we will. The reality is you can't judge it until August the 8th, can you? We all know that. A Shankpai Mahanti says, is Savic coming to United? Milinkovic Savic. We don't know. There's a drinks break here for United and Spurs anyway, so I'm going to have a sip of water as well. The reality is, what Manchester United Football Club have done in the last 24 hours is kill any transfer story in leaking to the press that we're not in for certain players. Who knows who we're in for? The priority in midfield seems to be Longstaff, which is amazing because he's only played 9 games for Newcastle. The priority at centre-back seems to be Harry Maguire, and that is it, I think. I think that's the only business United are looking to do now. If the Bruno Fernandes deal they've pulled out of, then I think that's it, Longstaff and Maguire. And I don't think that's enough. This second team is crap, says Monzi. Where's the gin, says Joe. Sween, it's only just gone 2 o'clock, mate. I'm not going to drink the gin yet. Matic is the problem, says Kartik. I agree. I don't need to change the score because it's actually 1-1. So there we go. I miss Pereira, says Super Vegata. Yeah, he's been good. I don't think anybody in this second half's really shone out, have they, for United? They really haven't. It's been okay. I think Fred's been okay. But I mean, look, Matic there. I mean, he has 3 touches before he shoots, Mora. It's not acceptable. Not acceptable. At the highest level, that is not acceptable. Napa Extra says, I can't believe Fekir went for 17 million. Well, considering he was going to Liverpool for 50 a year ago, it's amazing, isn't it? But I think Fekir's got something on his medical record, hasn't he? I think that's why it fell through with Liverpool. Tor Oddinson says, please give an update on Harry Maguire. I think the latest about Harry Maguire is that United and Leicester are miles apart on the valuation. And that's coming from Leicester. So it's very much the same as Wan-Bissaka, isn't it? We're taking weeks to do deals because we don't want to pay what the going rate is. Wan-Bissaka was a £50 million player and we took 3 or 4 weeks to do it. Harry Maguire is £80 million and we're taking weeks to do it. You could, as I said when Paul was on, you can believe it or you can accept it, but the reality is Harry Maguire in today's market is an £80 million player. I can't say any more than that. Spencer Aspinall, I'll put it this way. First half, Greenwood was the only player that was quiet. Second half, 90% of the team are. Yet this team is more of our first team. It's because of the midfield, mate. The midfield is just absolutely defunct. And we've not pressed very well second half at all. I'd imagine Rashford's pissed off because he's not even had a chance at goal yet. And as a striker, you need it. Spartan says, "Give me your opinion. Can you give us your opinion on Matic?" I mean, I never wanted him in the first place. When we signed him, he was slow, and he's even slower now. And look, again, it's nothing personal, but he's just done a foul there because he's got spun. He's just too slow. I never wanted him, and I blame Mourinho for this. You can't blame Ollie for inheriting players. Mourinho bought him, and he should have got Fabinho, but he's slow. And even when he's not slow and he gets the ball, he takes too many touches. He's the anti of what you need in that position. So no, I'm not a fan of Matic at all. But we might get a penalty shootout in this. Because if it finishes a draw, it goes to penalties. Good header by Lindelof there. It was a good cross. But Lindelof should always be winning that against Lucas Moura anyway. Cross coming into the back post. But Spurs have just been the better team in the second half. I know they've got some good players on Spurs, but they had a good... first half they had Sissoko and Dembele, Winks, Kane, but I think they've had Dele Alli. But I think having Moura and Son just makes them more of a threat. And United have struggled with that. Thanks for the contribution, Charlie Redpath. Delit scored an own goal and Rabiot missed a penalty, says Langaroni. I mean, pre-season doesn't matter. You're not a flop because you play badly in pre-season as a new signing. So, Mason Greenwood was very quiet today. It doesn't mean he's not going to be a fantastic player for United. But I think when you see the same problems with players that you've seen for the last 2 years, that's become a problem. Delo. Oh, that's a terrible cross. Oh, lovely one too. Gomez, cut it back. Oh, what a goal! What a goal by Angel Gomez. He arrives on the world stage from the left-hand side, does a 1-2. You think he's going to cut it back. He passes it into the net, and United, from nothing in this half, Angel Gomez has arrived with an absolutely fantastic goal. Out of nothing, well, I say out of nothing, he works it down the left-hand side, he did a 1-2, and then he passes it into the back of the net, and another player announces themselves as a Manchester United prospect. I tell you what, if these lads aren't getting first-team football like Chong and Gomez, you are going to have people whacking on the door, literally kicking the door in to get these lads on loan. Brilliant, I'm waiting to see it back again. But that is another star is born with Angel Gomez. That is absolutely fantastic. Picks it up on the left. 1-2 with Mata, runs into the box and then passes it through the legs into the bottom corner. It's a worldie. It's a lovely goal. I tell you what, if Messi scores this, they would be wanking. They would. I'm sorry for that. Sorry, but they would. It was absolutely fantastic. Super goal. Angel Gomez announces himself in a Manchester United Manchester United shirt. Finally, a star is born. It's fantastic. Absolutely superb. Absolutely superb. Made up for him. And it puts United in a position where they're in front from a position where they didn't look like they were going to be in front. So, lovely stuff. 2-1. Don't score straight away, Spurs, because we want to enjoy that goal. Corner. They didn't score straight away. Let's enjoy that goal for a moment or two. It was lovely. It was lovely stuff. Sent from heaven. He's an angel. So, 10 minutes to go. Cross comes in from Ericsson. Romero punches because he can't catch a balloon. And United clear. But what a goal. Well, I tell you what, that's been the highlight of the tour for me so far, is what some of the youngsters have shown, and whether they end up being part of the first team next season or not. I think they've shown that they have got that quality. So, what we got? About 10 minutes to go. Manchester United leading 2-1, which would mean that we don't have to have the old penalties. But Spurs have been the better team in the second half, to be fair. But they haven't really carved us open. The goal was a little bit lucky and partly assisted by shit Matic. So, United's goal was well worked, well taken. And if you don't score, you don't win. So, United lead 2-1. Against Tottenham in the whatever cup they call it. And Rashford's in again. And he's offside. He took it well though. He's been waiting for that all day, Rashford. And offside's been given. And he was miles offside, but he took it well. Hello, Paul. Can you hear me?
Yes, mate. Can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly, mate. Interesting second half, but a fantastic goal by Angel Gomez.
Oh, he's a wee legend.
He is. Absolutely fantastic. But as Spurs, I think United have struggled this half. I mean, great goal to hopefully win it, but I think United have really struggled this half.
Everything that was positive in the first half in terms of our development as a team has gone. It's just lost. But you've got to put it into perspective. We got 2 number 10s playing on the wing with no pace. Lingard as a number 10, I've given up on Lingard completely. I don't think a few worldies and a Millie Rock's going to, step your career up at all.
He's been very quiet again, hasn't he? Yeah.
Oh, he's dead as disco, Mark. I swear to God. He's just done nothing on the tour and nothing for half the season last season. So I don't know why we're clinging on to him. He's probably got a new contract in the pipeline as well. But Gomez, Angel Gomez, he looks so composed on the ball. He just does the right thing at the right time. He's a great wee player. Delo going forward looked fantastic, but our press has disappeared. Where'd that go?
I think the press has disappeared because of the personnel on the pitch. I mean, look, whatever people think about Matic and Mata, they can't press. They just haven't got the speed to do it, and I think that's why.
No, you're right. Matic has he's killed it off, and Mata, if he presses, he can't get back. If he gets back, he can't get forward to press. So Matic has got the turning circle of an oil tanker, and he takes so many touches on the ball. My concern is that all the players from last season who we would hope would get better, haven't really got any better. Do you know what I mean? Rashford looks the same. Matic looks the same. Mata looks the same. Pogba, I think he's had a good pre-season, but there's no one from our team last year who we, predominantly are going to start this year, bringing youth and new signings into it. No one's really kicked on. It's very similar, very static. Do you get what I mean?
In many ways, I think, we're the people who've stood out are the people who are, are they actually ready? So we're going to be reliant on experience. Yeah.
Yeah, our experienced players are doing the same things as they were doing last season, which led us to 6th. The excitement we're getting are from the new signings, which are only 2, and the youth, who, let's face it, aren't really going to be lumped into the first team in the first 6 to 10 games. No. So what we're going to put out on the pitch against Chelsea, as we currently stand, is very similar to what we ended last season with. Now, what we're relying on there is conditioning, fitness, and construction of a way of playing and being familiar with that. That's what we're relying on at the moment, really, to push up 2 places at least. Is that enough with the squad that we've got?
Well, this is why I think the transfer window is so important, because you can't
so key.
You can't read too much into pre-season, because that's what it is. And this game, it'd be great to win it, but actually Spurs were the better team in the second half. But we score a very good goal and we win it. So
yeah, this second team in the second half is very mismatched. It's all over the place. Ollie's just trying to put 11 players on the field. Yeah. I think the first half team was much better constructed in terms of how we play. It was more conducive to a press and to energy and to pace.
Yeah.
So I'm not taking the second half into consideration too much, but I'm just taking the overall picture of pre-season. We have a certain way of playing, which I think we're going to be able to do. But if we put a very similar team out to last season, I don't know how effective we're going to be able to do it, because the energy seems to be coming from a lot of the youthful players. Now, maybe I got that wrong. I don't know, but that's my perception.
I've said it before. I say it again. I think that the issue that we have is that I don't trust the team from last year, and ultimately, there's a few youngsters coming through, and Wan-Bissaka looks fantastic, but over 90% of our team against Chelsea will be the same sort of players from last year, and the change in style's great, but is the change in mentality there? The whole point of the summer was to have a rebuild and bring some experienced, strong-minded people in, and I think Maguire helps and Wan-Bissaka helps, but the midfield is, McTominay, Pereira, and Pogba is basically our best midfield I would take from this tour.
And
is that
they look
good
positive and they look good. And Fred, I think this second half has been, without being outstanding, he's been the outstanding player, because he likes a half turn. He moves the ball forward. He's progressive, but he's progressive to a very slow-moving football team at the moment, so it doesn't really seem to be working that much. But there are definite positives from a lot of the players, for sure, and the way we're playing and what Ollie's implementing. It's just, we do need to bolster that midfield. We really do. And a couple of players that were playing last season need to step up. The big test is when we lose 2 in a row, because that's what killed us last time. Our heads just dropped, and we just lost it. That's where the mentality comes in, and we haven't lost the game yet, so we don't really know how that's going to affect the team.
Who would you say has been your man of the match, or would you do it for both halves, or could you think you could do one off the whole game?
Pereira. I loved him the first half. Closely followed by McSauce, I think, because those two actually dominated the midfield, and I didn't expect it. Martial was so much better than Rashford at number 9. He looked so much more composed. He came to receive the ball, made himself available more, made more runs, which is unusual because Rashford's normally the one doing that, but maybe it's the team he's playing in. But I'd go for Pereira currently.
I think it's a shame, isn't it, when you go on tour and then you sort of come out of a tour and you've got more questions than you had when you went on the tour. And I think in many ways we are a bit like that. Like you say, the number 9 position, did anybody really think that we would have a situation where it was where it was Martial being the number 9 or not. It's interesting.
Tough one. Yeah, but do you remember who was man of the season? Man of pre-season last season?
Was it
In my
Pereira?
opinion, it was Pereira.
Yeah.
And Mourinho dumped him, just dropped him like, just he binned him off. And hopefully Ollie's not going to do the same thing, because I think he's a very neat player in that pocket, and he can do a lot of damage from there with McTominay sweeping up behind. But I still don't think that's a midfield that's going to dominate the top 6. I think that's a scrape the top 4 midfield.
Yeah.
So we need work. We need 2 more players at least. And we all know what we need. That's the thing.
Well, I don't know how long this ref's going to add on, but we're well into the sort of 90th minute at the moment, and
Sure.
Spurs were looking for a free kick there. Look, United will stay unbeaten. I don't think any United fan's going to be like, wow, we've beat Spurs, we're going to win the league, or even finish above them. It's been a very convoluted performance from both sides, because that's what you expect in this in pre-season. And it's funny that United's better defence has been the second half, but the weaker defence was protected well in the first half. So, but I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen with the transfers.
The second, well, at the moment, Mark, what's your starting 11 for Chelsea? Saying we don't get anybody else in, which is, in my opinion, unthinkable. But just in case we don't, your starting 11 from the pre-season you've seen so far.
Well, it would definitely be that midfield from the first half, which in itself worries me, because I don't know whether it's actually going to be good enough over a 38-game season. But I think it's definitely the best midfield. I think we're lost in the midfield. I just think we're living in hope that players really step up to the plate.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. And Ollie's doing the same thing as well. And I 100% think he believes in the squad that he has. I really do think that he believes that he can make a challenge for definitely the top 4 with what he has. But it won't take a lot for that team to be crippled.
Lucas Moura nearly scored a header late on there. It was a really good header
Tottenham
from
have
him.
been good in this half, and I think it's been a fair contest actually.
Yeah.
But Tottenham, you can tell they're not on the levels yet, and far from the teams that they're going to put out in the Premier League. So, yeah, I don't know how much we can gauge from this, but we can definitely take a lot of positives from it. But it's positives about the way we're playing, and there's individual positives there as well. But most of the positives are coming from the players that I don't think are going to be starting matches in the first 6 to 10 games of the season. So we'll have to wait and see. But we won.
Yeah, and I'll talk about it in the match reaction, but I just think that we desperately need to go into the transfer market. There's just no there's just no doubts about that. We've desperately got to go into the transfer market and try and improve that midfield area, whoever it's going to be. It might be your man Longstaff. That's the one you want, isn't it?
Bring it on. Longstaff's going to dominate. We're not going to get anywhere near Longstaff, but I hope Angel Gomez gets a lot of minutes. I think. Would you say Gomez over Mata?
Oh yeah. I don't know why we kept Mata. It really baffles me why we kept Mata, because I thought the thing is, people say I criticise Mata a lot, but I just criticise players I don't think are good enough for Manchester United, and I love Juan Mata. I do, but
yeah,
last season from the very first game against Leicester, I was like, he's finished, and yet a year later we go and give him a 3-year contract. I'm like, are they not seeing what we're seeing?
Ollie wants to play pace and power and counter-attack, and we re-signed Mata for 3 years. I mean,
it can only
doesn't make any
be
sense.
Maybe it's to keep De Gea at the club, in which case it's money well spent. But if it's actually to think he's still a relevant player at the highest level, I'm sorry, he's just not. He's
still got techers and he's still got that touch, but has he got the pace and has he got the longevity for 90 minutes? It's difficult to say, but he's going to have an influence, as are a lot of the senior players on the more youthful players. And let's hope this is a breakout season, Mark. We can have breakouts from Gomez. We can have Greenwood. He's going to be class. We can get, I don't know, maybe Ethan Laird will come through. There's players there that can break through into the team, even though I've been waiting for Lingard to break through for 7 years, but you know, it can happen. But as you say, it's in hope. It isn't definite.
Well, thanks for popping on, Paul. Really appreciate it, and I'll speak to you soon, mate.
Good result, great performance, really, considering, and a lot of positives. So yeah, appreciate your time, Mark, and I'll speak to you in a bit.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Right, we're going to go over onto the match reaction now. The link is in the video description for that. We will end this stream and I will be live with you there in 60 seconds for the player ratings, the thoughts on the match, and a little bit about transfers, of course, because I think that's a very prevalent subject. So I'll see you on the match reaction, link in the video description, or you can go through the homepage. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel as well, bottom right-hand corner. I'll see you on the match reaction in, give me 60 seconds.